Okay, I'd like to bring this meeting to order. The Village of Villa Park Board of Trustees meeting, October 14th, 2024. Clerk Henneke, please call the roll.
Trustee Alfano.
Here.
Trustee Cordova.
Here.
Trustee Corkery. Trustee Kozar.
Here.
Trustee Kumar. Here. Trustee Patrick.
Here.
President Kazal.
Here. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could please remain standing. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together this evening. May we have meaningful discussions that will help us to assist our village in these trying times. Help us to make the decisions that will affect the staff, directors, and residents of Villa Park. Guide us through the challenges we face, and may we approach each other with respect and kindness as one group. In your name, amen. Okay, item 3, amendments to the agenda. We are going to remove item 12A from the meeting. We will bring it up again at a later meeting. So item 12A will not be on the agenda tonight. We have any other amendments to the agenda? Okay. Public comments on agenda items. Clerk Henneke, anyone signed up?
Yes, I had a gentleman wanted to speak on 12A. I don't know if he still wants to. Nick Bretwish? Okay, thank you. Okay, I had no one else on agenda.
Anyone, amendments, public comments on agenda items? Okay, public items, oh, yeah.
I'd just like to have a little explanation why you're removing 12A.
Because the petitioner would like a little more time to get some information out to the board. And, speak to, and actually, you know what, why don't you guys come up now? Yeah,
I don't know that that's the right time to be doing it.
yeah. Well, he was going to speak on agenda, and I told him if we take it off, then it's a non-agenda item. But, I mean.
So you're taking that off, but you're leaving on 11A.
That's correct.
So this just seems unusual to me.
Correct.
We had this come up where this matter was continued to a date certain. Today would be that date certain.
Correct.
So I'm trying to understand why that date certain is no longer the date certain. Like, if the
Well, like I
board
said,
made, hang on, if the board made a decision that this should be on the agenda, I don't understand why unilaterally you would remove it without motion off the agenda when the board specifically gave directions that this would be given on the agenda for today.
Okay. First off, according to our council, I'm allowed to do that as the chair of the board. And second, the petitioner has
Then
requested.
let's hold on that.
Well, hang on, I'm
No,
I'm
maybe the-
speaking, sir, I'm
maybe the-
speaking, I am speaking. You don't like it when people interrupt you, let me continue speaking.
Well, you address council, let's have council address that first
Let me
point.
finish what I'm saying. The petitioner has been requesting to speak with the board and has not had any response yet, so they would like another 2 weeks to speak with the board. So that's the reason that I'm allowing it, or I'm taking it off. Now, if council would like to give her opinion, please do.
Yes, the village president, along with the village manager, are in charge of the agenda, and he has the authority as village president to remove the item from the agenda.
So I understand that there is certain discretion between the village manager and the president, but when the board essentially orders that something be put on the agenda, we have not only the policies that we've made previous, but we do have written into our code that if, I believe it's 3 or more trustees decide that something should be put on the agenda, it should be put on the agenda. And that was all agreed on the board. So now we're in a position where that no longer applies. So no matter what number of trustees want something on the agenda, the president can always veto it and say no. That goes directly against what we've had other board meetings about, what we've discussed, and what our ordinances and policies allow.
The removal of this item on the agenda doesn't divest the board with any decision-making authority with respect to the issuance of this liquor license. It delays the consideration of the liquor license. So at this state, the status of the liquor ordinances are that there is no increase to a liquor license. So it doesn't allow for the issuance of the liquor license. The board's decision with respect to whether a liquor license can be issued in this matter is not divested by this removal. And the village president has the authority to prepare the agendas along with the village manager. So they may do that.
But does that not negate our earlier policy that if 3 or more trustees request something to be put on the agenda, that it has to be put on the agenda? Do you see the disconnect there? So 3 trustees or more requested that this be put on the agenda, and now you're saying everything we've talked about previous to that, and that's the point of our policy, is so that everything is equal and contiguous, that somehow there's been a shift in policy?
There hasn't been a shift in policy. It is, as the head of as the chair of the board, he's allowed to designate the agenda. As village president, he has that authority to do so. And he is allowed to remove the item from consideration at the time. The decision that was made by the board was that the matter would be postponed so that the board didn't have to make a decision as to whether to increase the Class AAA liquor license. And the board will consider that. If the board wants to,
Well, my question is not necessarily about this ordinance. It's about policy and procedure moving forward. So as a group of trustees, do we no longer have the ability to request that something be put on the agenda? Is that what you're saying?
but that wasn't the motion that was made at the previous meeting. It just postponed an item that was already on the agenda. The village president has made the determination to remove it, and he has the authority to do so.
I thought the motion that was made was that an item be continued for this meeting.
It was postponed, yes.
Right, it was continued for this meeting.
Correct.
Right. So explain to me how that would be different if via email or written petition, we petitioned the clerk and said, 3 trustees wish to have X item put on the agenda. So how is that different? Because that's our policy. If 3 trustees want something on the agenda, it goes on the agenda.
Right, and now with the
But you're telling me
information-
that the president now always has the ability not to allow it on the agenda.
The president, along with the manager, have the ability to establish the agenda.
So all the agreement we made before, where we talked about 3 trustees being able to put something on the agenda, was just, like, you were just not you, but the board at large was just being humored, because that really doesn't matter. If the trustees want something on the agenda, they can't necessarily put it on the agenda. There's no override when you have a president that doesn't want something on the agenda. I mean, if that's the case, then that is the case, but I just want to be clear and transparent about it.
But in this situation, the status quo is appropriate because of the fact that in order for a license to be issued, there needs to be action for the board. And the village president has indicated that the applicant has requested additional time, so before the board considers the matter, the village president, as the chair of the board, has the authority to dictate the agenda, and it doesn't divest the board with its decision-making authority on this issue.
So the board has no ability to request something be put on the agenda, is simply what you're saying.
The board has the ability to request that something be put on the agenda, but that's not what took place. Something was put on the agenda, not at the initiative of the board. This is a matter that wasn't put on the agenda at the initiative of 3 members of the board. It was already on the agenda
Yep.
And a motion was made,
to postpone the matter.
and more than 3 members of the board requested that it be brought up today. So I'm just going to take that as the board has no authority to be able to put something on the agenda. And what we worked on and what we talked about before is just not so. So help me understand how we make sure the board in the future is able to put something on the agenda, even if the president doesn't want it on the agenda. How do we do that? Do we have to change our code of ordinances? I mean, help me understand this, and then give me a pathway so that legally we can do that.
Right at the moment?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the pathway is in the code, and if the board members do it.
It's already in the code. The pathway is already in the code.
Right, and that's not what happened in this circumstance here. So the procedure, the written request to submit for an addition of an item on the agenda was not what took place in this situation. So, you know, you're commingling various provisions and powers and duties that are authorized by the different officials.
Okay. Trustee Patrick?
Thank you. Well, I agree with Trustee Kozar, and part of the reason being is that we've already given the developer plenty of opportunity to come and speak to us, and whether or not they wanted to attend the meetings was on their own decision-making. Now, I came tonight ready to prepare to talk about this issue, and I think some of the other trustees did too. So I would like to request that the village take a consensus right now from the board to see whether or not they would prefer that this stay on the agenda for tonight, so that way we could talk about these points.
You don't have to take the consensus.
Now, the council's saying that I don't have to take that vote, that
That-
consensus. That's not, as chairman, I can do away with that.
But what I'm getting at is that there are other board members here, other than yourself, that have a say-so in the decision-making process and how this village is run. And whether or not you're going to exercise your authority to remove this item doesn't remove the fact that us trustees are ready to prepare to talk about it tonight.
Yeah, and we also have a trustee missing too, so I would prefer to have all trustees here, as
Well,
a lot of
if you-
times you guys like to see that and delay
just-
things if all the trustees aren't here.
I just think something's a little strange, because the trustee that is missing, if you look at the transcripts from the last video, have already said that he is a hard no for this. Now, maybe things have changed in that, okay?
may
But I think it would be fair to see a consensus from this board right now. It's just a consensus, not a vote. And what is one other trustee going to make or swing that consensus? Please exercise your authority then after that. I'm just requesting to see how many other trustees were willing to talk about this topic tonight and why we're pushing it back another 2 weeks.
Okay, all right, so we'll move on then. Trustee Kumar?
Absolutely a little confused, honestly speaking. I don't know where we're going. My concern is I did, want to get some information in this meeting. I see the developers are here, and we're not getting this information if we're not going to talk about
Well,
this.
no, we will get him up here.
But they're here
But
now.
you see, now it would be a non-agenda item. Because
Okay.
it's off the agenda. So we will have him up here.
Okay.
And this matter will come
Yeah,
before
we'll come
the
back.
board.
Correct.
The board is the decision maker on this, and it will
Right.
come before the board.
So is it, what are we going to, when you removed it, is there a date certain on this, or what are we doing? Are
Yeah,
we moving
it'll
it?
be on the next meeting. It'll be on the agenda for our next meeting.
Next meeting?
Yeah, correct, on the 28th.
Only if you allow it, though.
It'll be on there.
Well,
Trustee Patrick?
I'd like to make a motion that the board postpone item 11A until that meeting as well.
You can do that when we get to 11A.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, any public comments on non-agenda items? Anyone signed up?
Yes. I have Matt Weiss regarding the 1330 South Villa concern.
Sorry, I'm a little tall. Hello, I'm Matt Weiss. I live at 1345 Southville Avenue. I'm here tonight to talk about some pretty major concerns to our community around community safety that I have seen and personally witnessed happen at 1330 Southville Avenue. We live across the street from that property. And after the property sold in September of 2023, we noticed that there was a lot of people coming and going from that property to the point where it was no longer a driveway, it was a parking lot. We didn't know any of these people. These people didn't come and introduce themselves to us, and it seemed like there was an ever-revolving door. We did some digging on social media and found that the owner of the property was renting rooms by the month to individuals with shared amenities. Now, as you can imagine, this is surprising, given that we are in a single-family home neighborhood, and that property had previously been occupied by individuals for many years. So after doing that digging, things really started to spiral downhill. Police calls were increased, and police presence was increased tenfold to that property over a matter of months. There are individuals living in that property now that violate Villa Park's own ordinances around crime-free rental housing. So I really ask this group here, what can be done to ensure that we are creating a safe environment? Not only is this property in very close relation to a park, but also a school where my son goes, which is Albright. So I'd like to hear from the village how you are holding this owner accountable to ensure that our community is dealing with this appropriately, ensuring crime-free rental housing as is an ordinance in Villa Park. And so, I will say too, one of the complaints that I submitted to the village in July went unanswered for nearly 70 days. It was only after I pulled a trustee in did I get an answer to that. So you almost got a FOIA request from me, and all it's going to take is one watchdog reporter coming in and asking questions about how we are choosing to hold people accountable when it comes to the village ordinances that we have in place and that this group has chosen to put in place. So again, I ask this group, how are you holding the owner of that property accountable to ensuring that he is providing a safe place for renters to be and abiding by all village ordinances?
Okay. We'll try to answer it. I'm sure
Sure.
there's going to be a few other comments.
I'm sure.
But, yeah. So,
Thank you.
Danielle Weiss, also the same matter.
Hi, I'm Danielle Weiss. I also live at 1345 South Villa Avenue. And I would like to ask the group in front of me, village president, village manager, I too, along with other neighbors, have submitted complaints about that property with no response. This has been going on since April, and I just want to know why that is, why the village thinks that that's acceptable not to, respond to their constituents. I'd also like to know what the actual property is zoned for. Is it a single-family home, as it was with the previous owner? And if it was changed, was the public supposed to be notified that zoning had changed? And I too would like to know what is being done to make sure to ensure that this landlord, if he is allowed to rent, is doing it properly and safely for the rest of us, along with the people living there. So, thank you.
Also, Michael Hess, same subject.
Good evening, village trustees, Mr. Mayor, respected officials. Thank you for allowing me a moment to speak. I also am here because of the concerns at 1330 South Villa, but it's my understanding that this isn't the only occupancy within the village where an individual is renting out multiple rooms to people. And I guess, pardon my ignorance of not knowing all the ordinances, but I understand that there's got to be some regulations as far as what's dedicated a true rental building so that you can have multiple tenants. I'm not only concerned about it as a citizen and a resident, and especially for people with families in the school being close by, but I'm absolutely passionate about the fact that I live in a village where we have a really strong police presence and fire presence. I used to live on the other side of Route 83, and I can honestly tell you I'm happier with the responses and the level of services that the village is providing, the fire, the police, the public works. And so from a first responder's perspective, I'm looking at it also as these guys, their resources are going to be taxed if there is a response there where they show up and they don't know how many people are living in that structure, how many are living in one room, how many rescues have to be made, and that sort of thing. So like this thing, we could talk about this for hours probably about the impact that it's going to have on the village. But even with mutual aid, they may not be able to get enough people there in a timely manner to do everything that has to be done. And unfortunately, I've seen situations where it has cost several lives in just one dedicated occupancy that was actually a true classified apartment building. So I would like to respectfully request that somehow we open up dialogue and maybe pass ordinances where these house owners are going to be held accountable for a vetting process and having a maximum occupancy requirement and some formal inspection process moving forward. So thank you for your time.
Okay.
That's all I have. I have no one else.
Okay, anyone else would like to speak on 1330 South Villa? Manager Harlan, you want to just give a quick rundown?
Just really quickly, we are working with the property owner there. We are investigating several different possible avenues of enforcement, and I don't want to, I mean, I'm not going to go into it in a public meeting, but the village has not found anything that has taken them yet to adjudication or court. They are allowed to rent there. That part I can share, but it is a unique building, and it is difficult because they have rights to rent, they have rights to rent, and because of the large amount of space in the building, they have a right to rent to multiple people. So I don't want to go into the details here, but we can send out more information to the board, and they can share it as they see fit. And I think that's all I want to say right now. We don't usually discuss this during, this is a opportunity to take public comment. We don't typically have discussion at this point.
And we have discussed things like BRB rentals and long-term rentals in the village, and we probably will end up having a committee of the whole meeting regarding that issue, and hopefully in the near future. So, Trustee Alfano.
Thank you. I know this came up at Coffee with the Board probably 2 months ago, and the question was asked as to what the zoning was. Do we have an answer as to
Single
what?
family.
It is single family. Okay.
Trustee Kumar?
So single-family, in our village, any single-family home allows multiple rentals?
The definition of a family is fairly loose under Illinois law. And we are not allowed to reinterpret or change that law as a municipality.
Okay. Trustee Patrick?
One of the other questions that was asked that I didn't hear a response to is why did it take so long for the village to get a response back to the complaintees? Approximately 70 days. I also heard complaints that people were utilizing the new village app to submit complaints and still haven't heard anything back. Is there a logistics issue as to why it's taking so long to get people, our constituents, our residents, responses?
I would have to see the question and the response. Just like the police department doesn't discuss ongoing investigations, community development doesn't usually discuss ongoing investigations with individuals.
But as you are here tonight giving an explanation as to why you don't want to talk about it further, that's a simple explanation that could have been taken care of in an email or something 70 days ago when these initial complaints started coming in. That's the point I'm asking, is there any kind of logistical issue that is restricting us as a village from responding to these complaints, especially when we are promoting this new app that the village has and this is a feature?
I'd have to talk to the department, I'd have to look at the complaint, I'd have to verify the 70 days, et cetera, so.
Okay. Trustee Kumar?
I'm fine with the definition of family, so on and so forth. I just, would like a clear perspective and a kind of, some information from our, what our laws are with respect to, rentals at this point. 1 month, not 1 month. I mean, rental, is this a situation where a family is living with family and that's the argument, or is this a rental? A rental is oftentimes not to a family member. So how are they defining family rentals?
We can give you a full definition of what the rental laws are and what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. Again, we don't typically get into a detailed discussion during the public comment period, and we're not prepared to give a full answer right now.
Answer right now. Okay, that is fine. I just would like.
I was just going to say, we're continuing to evaluate the situation in the matter, and legal has commenced working with community development to evaluate it further and figure out the village's enforcement opportunities and resolution of the issues.
I just, this is not even pertaining to this particular property. I also have had issues with rentals near my place, which people are up till 2:30 and have called the police. Unfortunately, our very wonderful police just as recently as 2 weeks ago, because someone decided on Wednesday they need to have a party in their backyard in an Airbnb, which is right next door. And I feel sorry to call our police. I mean, they're here every day with them, and I know they will come out, and they did stop the noise eventually, but it is a problem in the sense their garbage cans are out consistently. There are multiple things that are violating what is considered our procedures that we need to cite and fine for, at least, whoever has that property, because a lot of times what's out is the garbage can for like 2 weeks. And that's one thing I think we can cite and we should think about in terms of any and all of these properties who are not following the procedures that are
Okay,
generally
okay. We're
consistent
kind of getting
with
on the
our-
way, all right.
Yeah.
Trustee O'Fonnell.
Manager Harline, I know that we talked about filling the ordinances and what legal things that we could do. Could you also include home rule versus non-home rule, what we could do if we're home rule versus non-home rule, or if there are anything that restricts us as being non-home rule?
You're talking as it relates to rental?
As it
or-
relates to rentals and as it relates to Airbnbs and such. I'd just be interested and curious.
Just to be clear, and we've said this before, we do not have any, there is no authorization to have an Airbnb. If you know somebody who is operating an Airbnb, send the address to protective inspection and we will pursue that. We don't, it's impossible to drive the streets and so if you know of something in your neighborhood, let them know that. That is not the situation that we're talking about at 1330 South Villa. If it was that simple, we would be able to enforce it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else public comments on non-agenda items?
We do agenda items? We didn't, didn't we?
Trustees, President Kazone, Village Manager, thank you guys for seeing us again. Greatly appreciate it. We were requesting to table it due to the nature of our previous emails that have gone unanswered. We're trying to get a hold of the board members to show them the property, show you guys all the renovations and the beautification of that building. I know that tomorrow's the final inspection, and I heard Trustee Patrick talk about coming last year. We honestly, again, I think we apologized last meeting that we had no idea. We should have came. We had an email, I believe, on September 11th, 2023, that we did have 4 votes and to proceed by the building with the concept that we showed, I think, a year ago and again last meeting. So that's kind of where we're at. We feel like, a dance studio apparently got the same liquor license that we were going for and everything, and then we reached out to everybody and have yet to get an answer. All we want to do is show you guys the renovations that we did do according to city code and show you guys how beautiful the building really is and what type of business it could be, and that we're going to be very proud of here.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Thanks. Can you just give your name for the record, please?
Nick Bretwish, 909 South Harvard.
Okay, thank you.
Just a couple.
So to be clear, there's no Q and A here. This is just public comment, and we can't ask questions? I mean, that was kind of the intent before.
Okay, we can't, yeah. Trustee
Great.
Patrick.
That's kind of what I was going to ask as well, is that, being that we had that agenda item on there, it allows us to have conversation, it's which you're asking for. Just because it's on the agenda and we have conversation doesn't mean that we have to vote on it tonight. We could still have a motion on that to postpone it like you're requesting. So this is part of the issue of why there's a little contention up here, is because we were prepared to talk about this tonight. We have public records of people sending us trustees that wanted read into record. So by postponing this, you're not allowing us that due process there. Now, I apologize that we haven't responded to your emails, but to be honest, I feel that time has passed. I've seen your establishment from the outside, and if we want to talk about this more, I'd be more than happy to put this back on the table tonight to talk about this. Otherwise, we're going to have to wait 2 weeks.
I'm not ready to talk about it right now because I didn't prep anything. I was really hoping that I'd have you guys come and visit the property, and we could spend 2 hours there instead of wasting 2 hours of the public's time here.
I don't think this is wasting the public's time at all. As a matter of fact, I think this is a very important issue that is at the public matter, which, again, to my point, is that I'm receiving email correspondence that wants to be read tonight. But I'm not wasting the public's time.
Well, when this comes back up at the next meeting, you can have your discussions. What they would like, though, is just at least a response, you're.
What about what the board would like?
Hang on. You just complained that, residents aren't getting responses from emails. These guys emailed everybody on the board, got no response about
Friday.
requesting a site visit.
1
And
year.
If you didn't
It's been a
want
whole
that-
year.
Hang on. If you didn't want, hang
That's-
on, just a second.
I don't want any of this. You did it last
So-
meeting, why can't I do it now?
So if, all they're asking is if you guys would like to come and see the place before you discuss it, and you can just respond and say, no, I'm not interested.
Well, I'm telling you right now that I'm not interested because there has been plenty of time here. Now, I don't know what the circumstances were that led you to believe that this was going to be approved, but I never made that decision. I don't think anybody else on the board made this decision. So I apologize that you're in this situation, but I don't want to see it because I've been ready months ago to talk about this and to discuss this. So I do not feel like I am wasting the public's time here. I feel that by delaying this, you are. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Alfano.
Thank you. I just feel that something that was said here on the dais is not exactly fair because, yes, we do want to respond to the residents, and we do respond to the residents, but you can't email me on Friday afternoon and expect me to have some time over the weekend to come and do what you would like me to do by a Monday afternoon. It's just not something that we are able to do. We are mostly volunteers here. You have to give us fair time. I think that to Trustee Patrick's point, we've had lots of time. This has been on the agenda recently for a month and a half now. I think that it's been something that we have had lots of discussion over. And while I do appreciate the invitation, I just feel like asking or even expecting to have a response from a Friday afternoon email for a Monday meeting, and then being called out on not having that response to you, and then being asked to have this off of the agenda, and then having this conversation taken away from us when we're prepared. I think that was really frustrating tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Trustee Kozar.
I think you're being put in the middle of something that's bigger here. You got an email that you just said that I wasn't aware of. You said you got an email from somebody that said you had 4 votes. But there was no vote here taken. And your timeline says that you got a green light from Nick Cazone that you're going to get a liquor license to open up a gaming cafe. But there was no vote here. Well, that was on your timeline, and that you got green lighted.
I'm just a little confused about why you keep calling it a gaming
Okay.
Merely 20.
No problem. Allow me to change my language. So you got green lighted, your words, or maybe Nick Cazone's words, that you would be getting a liquor license that included the ability to have gaming machines in your property, when in fact there was no vote here that allowed that. Not your fault. Nick Cazone's fault. Nick
President
Cazone-
Cazone, please have some respect up here, please.
President Cazone's fault. Because President Cazone didn't have the authority to tell you that you were going to get a liquor license, because there was no liquor license in existence at the time. There was no license that allowed gaming at the time. So I believe that very much you are caught in the middle of a discussion that needs to be had by the board, and you can see this unusual pattern that's going on. President Cazone greenlights you for something that doesn't exist. President Cazone defies the board and takes something off the agenda. I don't know what else President Cazone is doing here, but I would like a copy of that email. If you would please forward that to me, I would appreciate that.
Okay, addressing your, that we didn't vote up here, we had a consensus vote up here, and there was 3 trustees that voted yes, 2 abstained,
Semantically,
1
it's a
recused, excuse me.
consensus or a
Excuse
vote?
me, I'm talking.
Well, which
When
is it?
one person recused themselves. So we had 3 votes for, and then I spoke to the 4th trustee who was not here at the meeting, who said they would be in favor of it. So based on that, we had 4 votes that, at a consensus, said that they would allow it. That is the reason that I told them to go ahead with it.
And that, you're referring to September 11th, 2023 meeting, which can be reviewed on YouTube.
Yeah, I believe, I guess that's the date.
And semantically, we have a consensus and we have a vote. They're 2 different things.
Correct.
So a consensus is not a vote. It's more of a discussion. So no liquor license was issued that day, to be clear.
That's correct. However, they hadn't even bought the place yet, so they were asking, should we buy it? Would the board allow a liquor license? And that is the reason we had a consensus up here. If they had known that we weren't going to allow it, they wouldn't have bought the place, and you would still have a vacant building there.
So as I watched the meeting, I recused myself.
Correct,
I didn't have a vote because at the time I had a liquor license.
correct.
So I recused myself. But as I watched, there was 2 board members up here that abstained and did not vote. So maybe you're misremembering.
No, because there were 2
But
that voted.
nevertheless, there was no green light. And that's where you guys are caught in the middle. And I'm sorry for that.
Okay. Trustee Cordero.
Just a point of clarification. So I watched it before we had this meeting today. And there were 3 yeses, 2 no votes, and then 1 person wasn't here. The whole reason for that vote was to see if they were to go through, and this is kind of the overview here, is you can't get a liquor license unless you have the business and you have a certificate of occupancy. Is that correct?
You can get the liquor license before occupancy, but usually you don't.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can.
So what's happened here is we took a consensus vote in September 2023, which said 3 yeses, 2 abstain, and 1 recuse. Of if we were to give a green light per se, they would go build this building out and then ask for a liquor license.
Correct.
And we said yes. They went ahead and did that. They spent over $350,000 plus of their own money to build this building. And then they came back, and now as of our last meeting, we would have said no. And during that meeting, we asked that staff go and figure out what 11A would be, which is a liquor license without gaming, which is on here now. So that's why it's on there. My worry is that if you go and watch the September 11th, board meeting, which I did today, we kind of gave the green light. It says green light here, and I agree with that. And then when they're coming to ask for that liquor license that we said, go ahead and build this building for, we're saying no. The overall idea and the biggest takeaway for me is if you're trying to get a liquor license here in Villa Park, you kind of are rolling the dice of, you may have people say yes, and then when you go and actually ask for it, they're going to say no. You're going to put money in, you're going to spend money, you're going to buy a building, and at the very end, like tomorrow, final inspection, I don't know what this board would say today if we had to vote. And my worry is it would be a no, where in September of 2023, we essentially said, move forward, and now we're here. And now we're here, and this is public comments on non-agenda items, not on 12A. But I don't know, this doesn't look great for Villa Park, doesn't look great for this board up here. So that's essentially it. Those are facts.
Okay, thanks. Trustee Kumar.
Okay. I believe I was not at that September 23rd meeting, and I didn't make a comment on this particular item till almost September of this year. So it's a long time. In a private conversation, I was considering this particular license, honestly. But there were different signals during our meeting that set me off, honestly. And I addressed a bunch of those. Now, I don't think our board is against liquor licenses. The issue is this particular type of liquor license. We actually, I think many of us agreed to what is called a quadruple A to be put forth, where it doesn't involve gaming. And I understand our particular, I don't think when we agreed or said yes, I think that gaming issue was an issue from September 23rd from the beginning. So we've been having issue with that from the beginning. When I watched the meeting, that's what I got. Gaming was an issue even back then. And when the green light was given, I think the green light was given for the liquor license. The green light is not necessarily given for a green light. It's just, it is bundled together at this point. That's how our licenses are. I am not blaming anyone for giving a particular green light at this point, but it was given only for the liquor license, kind of. And that's how the meeting to me read when I watched it. I don't think it's correct to say that the whole board is against a business running legitimately, having a liquor license. And I also, this brings, the AAA, and I had asked for more information. We got some really good information from our staff in terms of what licenses are out there, who has what licenses, what kind of establishments are out there. I still have a lot of questions for staff, so in a way, I'm okay with a little bit of a delay. However, I'm not sure if I should be addressing these questions right now with the change in, our particular agenda today. So I will wait till unfinished and, my village trustees report to address those questions.
Okay, thanks. Trustee O'Connell.
Thank you. I would like our petitioner to know that when I speak to residents, they are very excited about a wine bar. When I say, and we're going to have machines, we're going to have gambling, they are dead set against it. I see great potential in the wine bar. I'm not sure that I see great potential in the gambling portion of that. And I want you to hear that because that is what I am fielding every day. So I will have 2 more weeks of people telling me this, and I will be happy to report that back to you in 2 weeks.
Okay, thanks. Trustee Patrick.
Thank you. I also, like Trustee Kozar, apologize that you were in the middle of whatever this is. The thing is that a year ago on that meeting in September, there was discussion, and this was a consensus, and a green light was not necessarily an approval. But if you were to listen to the discussion that happened in that meeting, there were some legitimate concerns that were brought up. And so, after the consensus was taken, the village president is supposed to go to you and tell you about what happened here. And I'm just curious as to what that conversation looked like, that those concerns weren't brought up to you at that time. Had you have known about those concerns at that time, you might have been amply prepared to address those. So now here we are. So that is my question, is like, what did that process look like? Because again, we did not approve anything. We did not do that. It was consensus, which is different than a formal vote.
Yeah, and we can discuss that in 2 weeks. We can bring all that up. Chief Escardola.
Just another point, when you go, and I ask everyone who has any questions about that September 11, 2023 meeting, when you go there, item 12 is new business, and there's an A and a B. A is a proposal for use of building at 24 East St. Charles, which is this one. Item B is proposal for use of building at 219 West St. Charles, which is right across the street, a little bit further down, asking for the same exact thing. That was a unanimous yes for the same exact question of a liquor license with gaming. So as you go through and watch it, the only difference here, and this was kind of said in a meeting not super long ago, was why didn't they show up? There's no rule that says you have to show up when you're asking for a proposal for use of a building at wherever you're at in Villa Park. That was, I don't know if that's a deciding factor. If that's a deciding factor, we should say that out loud. And the difference between A and B is B came and showed up and asked and presented like a 3-page slide or a 3-slide deck, and A did not. And if that's what we're saying out loud, then we should say that very much so and crystal clear. If you're looking to open a business in Villa Park and you're going to ask for a liquor license, you better be in here and hope that the board likes you, or they're going to say no.
Trustee Petra.
I think it's important to also understand that each person trying to get a liquor license, each business trying to get a liquor license in town is different from the next. So when you compare the one across the street, and I don't have the details in front of me, that is a completely different location, a completely different place, a completely different petitioner. Each case is or should be looked at on an individual basis, and this board has expressed those concerns, raised those concerns, but apparently those concerns have not been communicated with the developer that has essentially been wasting their time with a project right now that is up in the air. So I apologize for this, but again, this is something that is, we've been talking about for a while now. So again, each liquor license presented to the Village of Villa Park or the liquor commissioner himself is a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
This will be my last thing. Just for clarification here, we talk about gambling and gaming and whatnot. We have an establishment here in Villa Park called Safari Land. It is an amusement park here in town. It boasts itself as a family-owned and operated business for children. They have gaming there. So you can go to Safari Land right now, it's open, and you can go gaming there. So this is a 21 and older establishment that we are saying no, but Safari Land where you go and you can go bowling, they have roller coasters, they have children's parties, they have indoor amusement park, you can go and game there.
Okay.
Why do you say it's 21 and over? Where is that?
It's a wine bar? This guy.
Says it's 21 and over?
Is it 21 older, or is it 18 older? It's 18. 18, apologize, 18 older.
Okay. All right, thank you. Go ahead.
Again,
Les.
Safari Land is a different petitioner for a liquor license. It's a different type of business. I will reiterate, a petitioner that comes and requests a liquor license from the Village of Villa Park is a case-by-case basis.
Okay. All right. Any other public comments on non-agenda items? We'll move on to item 6A. This is a notice of public hearing concerning the intent of the President and Board of Trustees of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, to sell a not-to-exceed $15 million general obligation bonds, alternate revenue source. So I'd like to call this public hearing to order. Clerk Konecki, please call the roll.
Trustee Alfano?
Here.
Trustee Cordova?
Here.
Trustee Corkery? Trustee Kozar?
Here.
Trustee Kumar? Here. Trustee Patrick?
Here.
President Kazan?
Here. Okay, so the purpose of this public hearing is to take public comments regarding the proposal to sell general obligation, alternate revenue source bonds of the village in the amount not to exceed $15 million for the purpose of financing eligible redevelopment project costs within the village's St. Charles Road Commercial Corridor Tax Increment Financing District. And would any of the trustees like to make a comment on the record? Okay, none. I'd just like to make a comment. I think this is something that is definitely long-range plans for the Village of Villa Park, and something that will definitely make the village a better place in the next 20 years, so. Okay, village staff, I'd like to see if any additional comments made by village staff. Mr. Harline?
The staff is in support of moving forward on this project. We believe that the presentation at the Committee of the Whole explains our belief that we will be able to cover the note with the project proposed, and look forward to the asking the board to make a consensus to move forward on drafting a bond ordinance after the end of the public hearing.
Okay, thank you. Okay. At this time, anyone wishing to comment should...
You should ask this question here.
Okay, I'm sorry, missed that. Has the village received any written comments regarding the proposed bond reading?
We have not.
You have not, thank you. Okay, at this time, anyone wishing to comment can come up and state your name and comment on the bond issue. Okay. As we have no public comment, can we get a motion to close the public hearing? Trustee Cordova?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Kumar? Clerk Konecki?
Okay, Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
President Kazan?
Yes. Okay, so at this time, we'd like to get a consensus of the board for staff to draft a bond ordinance to sell general obligation alternate revenue source bonds in the amount of not to exceed $15 million.
Oh, not a
No,
motion.
it's just a consensus.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, any questions or comments? Trustee Kumar?
I just want to say I'm glad you're coming to us with this, and I'm hoping this project will go through well in the future.
Okay. Clerk Konecki? Any other comments? Trustee Kozar?
Is this a vote or a consensus?
It's a consensus for staff to draft the
Got it.
obligation.
But not a vote, right? Because
Correct.
there's a difference?
That's correct.
Thank you.
I mean, we're hoping that the consensus will be the appropriate direction to move forward so that the developer can rely upon the consensus as we prepare the appropriate bond ordinance and redevelopment agreement for the project.
No, I understand that. I'm just trying to understand what we're doing here, because things that I previously understood to be are just not that, so we're playing catch-up now and trying to learn what a vote and a consensus is, what a date certain is, what goes on an agenda. It's all new to me. Sorry.
Well, the developer is going to take this consensus and the village staff as well, and we'll move forward on this project and preparing the appropriate ordinances for the bonds. So we're hoping that the village board takes this consensus as appropriate indication and a green light that we move forward on these issues.
That's a trigger word, isn't it?
So just, yeah, and that's, I just, we're saying yes to this $15 million and we're doing a consensus. That doesn't mean that when it comes back on here for approval, that it's actually gonna be approved, as we've just talked about. So, is that correct, right?
That's
I don't
correct.
know. I don't know anything
I don't
that's
know.
going on.
I don't know.
That's
Thought
correct.
I did. Don't know.
This is not the official vote on it. That will come via an ordinance. So the official vote of approval will come via the approval of an ordinance. This is a consensus.
I just wanted to add one thing. So as we prepare the bond ordinance and we will also be preparing a redevelopment agreement. In fact, staff is already working on these things with the staff, with the people with Marquette, so that we can bring them back and that they are looked at together. We also have Chapman and Cutler, as bond counsel is authorized by the board to make sure that all of the elements work together, that they all meet any IRS standards, so that when we bring back to you a bond ordinance and an RDA, they will be workable and they will be ready to go. But of course, until, this does not obligate you to vote yes. We certainly hope that we bring back something that you will be able to vote yes for in November, if not miraculously sooner. But I think that that we described a pretty good project, and I appreciate the support of the board.
Thank you. Trustee Kumar.
I would like to say that a consensus is a serious statement by any of us. However, it is not a binding statement by any of us, and I think that's something that needs to be clarified today, but it is a very serious consideration. And that's something I think I wanted to say from the beginning of this meeting. We are seriously considering it. The misgivings we will be stating now if we have any, and you will hear that. And that's what we have done in the past also with our consensus. Thank you.
All right, any other questions, comments? Okay, Clerk Henneke, roll call for the consensus.
Yes, trustee Cordova,
Yes.
trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Patrick,
Pass.
okay,
I'm sorry, pass?
Yeah, I'm drinking water. I'll come back to it.
abstain.
No, pass.
He's just,
Trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Kozar,
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes.
Yes.
That's, okay. Trustee Patrick's a yes.
he didn't abstain, he said.
Did you get that? Clerk
Yes,
Henneke?
thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, President Kazone.
Okay, so staff will now proceed with preparing the proper ordinance. Okay, move on to proclamations. Item 7A is a proclamation recognizing St. Alexander's Church's 100-year anniversary from October 17th, 1924 to October 17th, 2024. And whereas St. Alexander Church is being recognized for its 100-year anniversary of services from October 17th, 1924 to October 17th, 2024. And whereas this 100-year anniversary will be celebrated by Mass on October 17th, 2024, led by Pastor Mark Rosenbaum at St. Alexander Church. And whereas the celebration will continue with Mass on October 20th, 2024, led by Bishop Ronald Hicks. And whereas this 100-year anniversary is not only a great mark of time, but a testimony of humanity, service, and the importance of fellowship. And whereas the contributions of St. Alexander Church and its parishioners have enhanced the spiritual growth and support to the Village of Villa Park and neighboring communities, now therefore I, Nick Kazone, President of the Village of Villa Park, do hereby proclaim October 17th, 2024, the beginning of a year-long celebration by St. Alexander parishioners in recognition of the 100-year anniversary in the Village of Villa Park. And congratulations to St. A's, and we have several parishioners here who representing St. A's. Our pleasure. Thank you. Okay, item 7B is a proclamation recognizing November 15th, 2024 as School Board Members' Day. Whereas today we honor and recognize school board members who have donated their time for this community and given their commitment toward making our schools a welcoming, safe place for all students to achieve their dreams. And whereas school board members are responsible for providing leadership that ensures a clear, shared vision of public education for their schools, that sets high standards for the education of all students, and requires the effective and efficient operation of their districts. And whereas school board members are elected to represent both the interests of students and taxpayers and work closely with parents, educational professionals, and other community members. And whereas the Village of Villa Park is fortunate to have dedicated school board members serving in its school districts who are committed to building partnerships across the village for the betterment of our community. Now therefore, I, Nick Cazone, President of the Village of Villa Park, do hereby proclaim November 15th, 2024 as School Board Members' Day in the Village of Villa Park, and urge all residents to join me in recognizing the commitment and hard work of school board members. And definitely, we have to thank our school board members. It's kind of a thankless job. They do a great job, and not a lot of people see the work that they do, but they do a great job here in Villa Park. Okay, item 7C is a proclamation recognizing October 2024 as Principal Appreciation Month. And whereas school principals play an integral role in the education and growth of children in elementary, middle, and secondary schools across the state of Illinois. And whereas school principals are responsible for promoting education and building relationships with parents and teachers to ensure that each child receives services that meet their needs to excel in the classroom. And whereas principals set the academic tone for their schools and work collaboratively with teachers to develop and maintain high curriculum standards, develop mission statements, and set performance goals and objectives for schools to achieve educational excellence. And whereas the Village of Villa Park recognizes our outstanding principals who have succeeded in providing high-quality learning opportunities for students, as well as their exemplary contributions to the community and the profession. And whereas the Village of Villa Park hereby proclaims October 2024 to be Principal Appreciation Month in the Village of Villa Park in honor of the service of all elementary, junior high, and high school principals. I encourage all citizens to recognize the importance of school leadership so that every child has access to a high-quality education. In witness whereof, I, Nick Cazone, here unto set my hand this 14th day of October 2024. And we do have some excellent principals here in Villa Park. Our schools are very well regarded here in Villa Park, so thank you. And finally, a proclamation celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Villa Park Islamic Foundation. Whereas Islamic Foundation, located at 300 West High Ridge Road in Villa Park, Illinois, is being recognized for its 50-year anniversary of spiritual and educational services from the year 1974 to the year 2024. And whereas this 50-year anniversary will be celebrated on October 19th, 2024, projecting the highlight, growth, and progress in reaching this milestone. And whereas this 50-year anniversary is not only a journey of religious, social, and humanitarian services, it also highlights the establishment of the biggest Islamic center in the western suburbs, a weekend school, and a full-time parochial school. And whereas this 50-year anniversary is a great mark of achievement and a testimony of humanity, service, importance of fellowship, and enrichment of the Villa Park community in the tradition of Abrahamic faith. And whereas the contributions of the Islamic Foundation Mosque and its worshipers have enhanced the spiritual growth, charitable services, and support to the Village of Villa Park and its neighboring communities. Now therefore, I, Nick Cazone, President of the Village of Villa Park, do hereby proclaim October 14th, 2024 as a day of recognition for the Islamic Foundation in the Village of Villa Park. And congratulations to the Islamic Foundation, and it's another great testament to the Villa Park and its residents. So thank you. Okay, item 8 is presentations. We have none. And item 9, appointments to commissions. We have none. Item 10A is bill listings for the week of September 23rd, September 30th, and October 7th, 2024, in the amount of $2,995,189.86. Item B is approval of the minutes of the September 23rd, 2024 Village Board of Trustees meeting. Item C is acceptance of the minutes of the September 7th, 2024, and October 5th, 2024 Coffee with the Board meetings. No, this one we got to do separate, right? we doing them all at once?
You can do it.
Okay. Item D is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park authorizing a memorandum of understanding between the Public Safety Cadets of Virginia and the Villa Park Police Department regarding a program to educate and mentor youth. The resolution authorizes the village police chief to execute a memorandum of understanding between Public Safety Cadets and the Village of Villa Park to cooperate on a program to educate and mentor youth. Staff recommends approval of the resolution. And item 10E is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing the purchase of automated external defibrillators, AEDs, and accessories from Second Chance Cardiac Solutions, Inc. at a cost not to exceed $24,390.40. This resolution authorizes and directs the village manager to purchase 12 Zoll AEDs, 7 wall storage cabinets, 2 non-clinical AED trainers, and accessories from Second Chance Cardiac Solutions, Inc. of Yorkville, Illinois, for a total cost of $24,390.40. The village is purchasing the equipment from a joint purchasing agreement of the state of Illinois that competitively bid for the cost of the equipment. This is the first of 2 purchases of a similar cost, and so to avoid the appearance of trying to evade purchasing policy, this resolution is presented to the board. Staff recommends approval of the resolution. And do we have a motion for, for the consent?
Ask if anyone wants to remove anything from the consent agenda.
Okay. Does anyone want to remove anything from the consent agenda? Trustee Kozar.
I want to remove item B. I can't approve the minutes of the September 23rd, 2024 village meeting because that is the meeting where we requested certain things to a date certain, and they were not put on there. So I need to review that in detail compared to the video on YouTube and decide if those minutes are even accurate.
So you want to remove item 10B? Okay. We have a motion to remove 10B.
Oh, no, it's just, no motion is necessary.
okay.
Okay. Anything else removed?
Anything else to be removed?
Yeah, so item D and E are resolutions. Should those go under item or number or 14?
If the board wants discussion on each individual item, you can remove it from the consent agenda, and then it will be considered in resolutions. Consent agenda items can be ordinances, resolutions, motions that are usually non-controversial in nature and will have unanimous approval of the board. But if there's a matter that needs to be discussed, even if you want to approve it, you should remove it from the consent agenda so you can have discussion on it.
So if we approve the consent agenda, these 2 resolutions will just be approved?
Correct.
Got it. Okay, I'm okay with that. That's
Okay. Trustee Patrick.
I would like to make the motion that item D be removed, or be placed so that way we could have discussion. I would like to know a little bit more about what this is about.
Sure. And Trustee Patrick, there doesn't need to be a motion. Your indication that it's removed is sufficient. So item D will be removed from the consent agenda.
Where will it be placed?
And then brought to 13 or
14.
It will be considered under resolutions.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Clerk Konecki, we'll vote on items 10A, C, and E.
I did have questions. I thought that we were voting, we didn't even have a motion, correct? I did have a question on, and I'm sorry I did not get this earlier. I usually try to do that. On one of the bill listings, there is something on page 47 of our packet. It just says membership at $445. I'm just curious as to a membership for what?
So if there's inquiries on it, we should probably remove it as well, and you can do a motion. And
For the bill
it can be
listing?
considered independently.
Okay.
Yeah, consent agenda is something where there's really no discussion. It's
Got
just
it.
a motion and a second, and then multiple items are approved at once via a unanimous vote.
Okay,
So
then
we'll
can-
remove item A.
Yes, please.
So you have C and
Okay.
E.
Okay, so we'll remove, Clerk Konecki, for items C and E.
Okay, yes. Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Oh, we need, so we've decided what
right.
was removed from the consent agenda. Now you need a motion to approve the consent agenda, which consists of items 10C and 10E.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. Do we have a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, trustee Cordova, trustee Kumar?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, okay. Any other questions? Okay, so item 10C and E only. Clerk Konecki?
Okay, now trustee Patrick,
Yes.
okay, trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Kozar,
Yes.
trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Okay, so we're
Item
gonna,
10A.
10, yeah.
10A.
Do we do it now or wait till
Yes.
resolutions?
Well, that's bill listing, so it's not a resolution.
Okay.
10A.
Okay, so item, let's go to item 10A is the bill listings for the weeks of September 23rd, 30th, and October 7th, in the amount of $2,995,189.86. Okay, do we have a motion?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll make that
Trustee
motion.
Cordova, we have a second. Trustee Kumar? Okay, questions?
Yeah, thank
Trustee
you.
Alfano.
So my question is, in our packet, page 47, there is dues and publication. There's a membership charge for $445. I just didn't know what the membership charge was for. Typically, it will say like for Rotary or for Kiwanis. Oh, no, I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at Director Howard. Unless you have some insight to that, Chief Rivas.
Sorry, did you say page 47?
Page
47.
47 of 313, yes.
It was paid on the BMO Harris MasterCard, and they're trying to discover.
Dues and publications.
Okay. I'm just curious, I figured it was some kind of.
Yeah, it's in the finance department.
It could be an IGFOA, but I don't want to say.
Okay,
Or, we also recently joined the payroll association. so
Got
it's
it.
one of-
Yeah,
it's
it's
one
one
of
of
I figured it was an association of some kind, I just,
those- Yeah, but we can get that to you.
okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, trustee Kumar?
I do suggest a little bit more specification if possible in the future, so we don't have to address these questions, please.
There are a lot of line items in front of me as exact as we can.
Yes, I thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, Clerk Konecki, this is for item 10A.
Okay, trustee Alfano,
Yes,
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Kozar,
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Okay, so now item 10D,
No, B,
no, he removed that.
from the consent agenda.
Oh.
So now we're considering it separately.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, item 10B, approval of the minutes of September 23rd, 2024 Village Board of Trustees meeting. Okay, do we have a motion for item 10B? Trustee Kumar,
I'll make that motion.
do we have a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Alfano, questions or comments? Trustee Kozar?
We're voting right now to approve the minutes for September 23, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. I would ask the board just to postpone that so we can all review that.
So now, do a motion on that, or?
According to the Open Meetings Act, the board of a public body is supposed to approve the meetings of the preceding minutes at the next meeting of the public body. So this would be, to delay it could be a violation of the Open Meetings Act. You can vote it down, but it should be considered.
Okay.
We're still following the OMA, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure.
There's been no violation of the Open Meetings Act at this meeting.
Okay.
Trustee
Trustee Kumar?
So what our options are to disapprove it if necessary. What are our other options here? Correct it. What can we do with that?
You can do a motion to amend if there's something inaccurate in the meetings, minutes, in the meeting minutes. You can correct the meeting
At a later
minutes.
meeting?
No, right now.
Oh, okay.
As you consider this.
Okay.
Okay, and then what else are our options if we disapprove, what happens next? If we don't approve, because if you're taking a vote to approve disapproval, what does that mean? I just need a definition.
It just means the minutes haven't been approved, and so there isn't minutes available for distribution to the public.
Okay,
Which is a violation of the OMA.
no, which we would not want certainly. So we can amend though, correct? the
Correct, if
minutes.
there's something that needs to be corrected in the minutes.
He had his hand up first, we had a question.
So is there something incorrect? Is there something, I'll ask trustee Kozar, but, is
I
there?
don't know. I need to review the video. As I recall, we continued something and it didn't get continued. I mean, I don't know. I'd need to, I'm going to be a no vote on it because I need to review it. Like I said, what I thought was the way we did things is not the way we do things, so
Yeah.
all bets are off.
So there's two things on here. There was a motion to postpone the ordinance to today, October 14, meeting, to this meeting, and you made that motion. I seconded it, that we went 4-3. And then the second piece of that was the motion to direct village attorney to create a liquor license appropriate to this business that would allow for gaming. That was made by trustee Patrick, seconded by Corkery, and there were no questions, and that was 7 yes. And that's 11A. So that's, I think I know what happened here. We postponed what is now 12A to today, and then the direction from this board, which we were talking about earlier, was to find this 11A, this Quad A liquor license. Okay. I think that's exactly what happened. Okay.
Yep. Trustee Kumar?
Let us say that we accept the minutes as is. Is there a retro way to correct the minutes if they are wrong?
I'd have to look at that. But it doesn't sound like there's any incorrect recitation of the meeting.
Meeting, okay.
Okay.
So
Let's go.
is there a motion now?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's motion already on? Okay.
There's a motion to,
Approve the minutes.
right. Trustee Patrick?
Thank you. As before, and as I've always said, if there are any board members on this board that wish to have an extended period of time to look or review over information before making a vote, I will always support that. I will do the same for trustee Kozar tonight with this.
Even if it violates the OMA?
Well, President Kazone, we got into this matter because of some of these items that were removed off of here that we were prepared to speak to. And then we were told that a consensus was greenlit without the approval of a board. So I apologize that the circumstance brings us to potentially violating the OMA, and that is not my intent or the intent of the board. But we got here today to this point because of what happened earlier, and there is confusion on this board from multiple candidates, or multiple trustees, and also our attorney cannot give us the information about whether or not we can correct this after approved. So even after the OMA, President Kazone, to answer your question, yes.
Okay.
Ooh, I have a question. Is a
go ahead.
violation of openly violating the Open Meetings Act, that is a Class C misdemeanor punishable by 30 days in jail and a fine of up to $1,500 in Illinois, is that correct?
Yes, there's penalties.
And so knowingly saying that we want to violate the Open Meetings Act, that is, that's what's happening right now, is that correct?
I can't say that the particular action that's taking place today
No,
would rise to that level, but there are penalties and affiliated with violation of the Open Meetings Act.
And
It-
if somebody wants to, that has to be pursued. It doesn't like automatically happen. Correct?
So,
Trustee Patrick.
so I find that kind of just out of place here. My statement said that I do not wish to violate the Open Meetings Act, but because of the confusion and the lack of the guidance from our village attorney on whether or not this can be approved or not, I am anybody's guess is as good as mine. So I'm not openly violating the Open Meetings Act, but hey, we can talk about it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm just,
You know what? I'm going to correct myself here because I pulled up the Open Meetings Act. This board has 30 days to approve the meeting or the second subsequent meeting. It's not the next subsequent meeting. So if there's a motion on the table to postpone it and consider it at a later date, you can do that so you have time to review this.
So,
Section 206 of the Open Meetings Act allows you to do it.
Mr. President, I would like to make that motion.
It's already been made.
Well,
No.
no, it has to be
It has not.
remade.
Trustee
because it died.
Kozar?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
Okay.
So
So we have a motion to postpone approval of the minutes.
I would like to make the motion to postpone the approval of the minutes to our next stated meeting in 2 weeks in order to provide adequate time for other trustees requesting more time to investigate these.
Second.
All right, Trustee Kozar, second. Any questions, comments? I'd just like to say, I don't know, I mean, the minutes say the motion to postpone the ordinance was made by Trustee Kozar, seconded by Trustee Cordova. Roll call vote tallied, 4 ayes, 3 nays, and it was done. So I don't know what reviewing it's going to do, but if that's what the board wants. Trustee Kumar.
I just want to thank Melissa for getting quickly back to us with that information. That was super helpful at this point. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Clerk Konecki.
Okay. Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Petrick?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
President Casone?
No. Okay, so we'll postpone that until October 28th. Okay, I think that's everything.
Yes, because we'll consider item 10D under resolutions.
Okay. All right. Item 11A is an ordinance amending Chapter 3, Article 3 of the Village Code, creating a new liquor license category, Quad A, to allow the sale of liquor at a tavern without gaming. Edgar Harley.
This resolution amends Chapter 3, Article 3 licenses to create a new type of liquor license that allows for the sale of retail liquor for consumption on the premises and the sale of alcoholic liquor at retail and original packages for consumption off the premises, but prohibits video gaming. Staff recommends approval of the ordinance if the board wishes to establish this type of liquor license.
Okay, do we have more? Trustee Patrick.
I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, second, Trustee Kumar. Questions or comments? Trustee Patrick.
Thank you. Earlier, you had stated that this is something that I would like to be postponed until our next meeting, along with the other issue. But I think it's important here that when reviewing this, that we do talk about this tonight and we do pass this tonight. So that way, we don't prohibit the newly business that's coming to town from having some sort of function regarding opening their business here, and that they have the option of being able to get a liquor license that is more of along the lines of what the board is looking at as well.
Okay. Trustee Court.
Point of clarification from Trustee Patrick. We were talking about 12A when you made that comment that you were also going to strike down 11A. Is that just like was that a confusion of the categories of liquor licenses?
Well, if you've been paying attention the last couple of meetings in the discussion relating to the establishment on the liquor licenses for the Triple E on St. Charles Road, we have been discussing in great detail about the possibilities of offering them something so that way they can still open up as a business. Again, we're not here to deny businesses the opportunity to run a business. We want economic development here in Villa Park. We are pro-economic development. The root cause of this, though, is the type of liquor license that was in question. So when you talk about confusion about this, this was part of the resolution being suggested to the problem that was at hand. So I'm simply stating right now that earlier I said that I wanted to move this or postpone this, where on second thought, I don't think it's necessary. I think it's important that 11A is passed tonight, so that way the business that was here tonight looking to get a AAA license doesn't necessarily have to get that, but they could still get the tavern non-gaming license. It's part of the solution to the problem that we have here. That's what I'm saying tonight.
Yeah, I guess my only thing was during that 12A, it just felt kind of retaliatory for saying no to 11A, but thanks for clarifying.
I don't know where you would get retaliatory out of that,
'Cause we
and
were
that's
talking
putting
about 12.
words in someone's mouth,
'Cause
too.
it was 12A that we were talking about, and you got a little huffy puffy and said, oh, I'm taking 11A off too, so thanks for clarifying, Trustee Patrick.
Trustee Kumar.
There's a couple of things I want to say. Is this open for questions now?
Yeah.
Okay. One thing, there was a comment made by Trustee Cordova with regards to, let's say, many places having gaming machines. And I think the reason is already they have a Triple E, it becomes an easy source of revenue, and it becomes a retroactive, let's put in a gaming machine later, because then we can make money off of it. And I understand, COVID came around, things came around where a lot of businesses were under a lot of strain, and they're gonna try to make income in the way that they see fit. Now, I do ask that we consider an opt-out for some businesses who already have Triple E's, may not have a gaming machine, and see if they would be interested in changing to this type of license. There may be people out there who want to take a stance as a business where they do not want gaming, and their thing is that they never were able to get the type of license that they wanted, and this might be their type. Now, there may be no one, I'm not saying, but I see a lot of businesses out there with Triple E's, Quadruple E's, gaming included, which I think maybe there are a couple that just got that because they wanted all the other things that came with it and not maybe the Triple E. I'm not sure. And that's something I think we should retroactively, address with as the not right away, but as the liquor licenses come up for renewal. And maybe someone doesn't want it. Maybe they will want to go to a Quadruple A. If we're passing it today. If in fact it passes.
Actually, Attorney Wolf just reminded me, this is an ordinance for first reading. So it's really discussion only right now unless somebody wants to waive the first reading. Trustee Patrick.
Well, I also think it's important to note, though, that the reason that this is on here is because of the fact that we are listening to our constituents' needs that have come to us about the explosion of liquor licenses going into gambling and creating machines, these gambling machines. This is why this is on here, is because of that discussion. It's important that we as trustees, as elected officials, represent our constituents, and when we are brought concerns, that they're addressed in a timely manner too. Much like a comment that was made earlier in a statement from President Cazone, comparing residents asking the village for a timely response for their concerns versus a contractor asking a trustee to tour their building for a day. I think my lack of response to that developer was appropriate. However, the village's response taking 70 days to respond to our residents, that is not an appropriate response. We have to remember where this item came from, and this came from because of our constituents.
Trustee Kumar.
I would like a motion to waive the first reading on this particular ordinance.
Okay, we have a motion to waive the first reading. Do I have a second?
I'll make that second.
Trustee Patrick. Questions, comments? Trustee Cordova.
I would like some more time to look at the Class Triple or Quad A Tavern unrestricted before it goes to vote. And like Trustee Patrick just said, maybe a couple of items ago, that he would allow and he would support that time for me to kind of understand this a little bit better.
Absolutely. I will second that motion if you make it.
Say, wait, what now? Which one are you seconding?
We need to waive it first.
He's making a motion to postpone,
You just seconded waiving the first reading.
but
That's right. and then-
he's making a motion to postpone this reading.
So
This is the first reading.
Yeah, the thing would be to
Second reading
vote
would be-
down.
not up
Just
for-
vote no.
it's not up for approval
Right.
unless the first reading is waived. So if you'd like additional time to consider this, then the appropriate avenue would be to vote no for the waiver of first reading so that it'll come before the board for second reading at the meeting on October 28th.
Got it.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Trustee Kozar.
So I'm reading the ordinance itself. Maybe I'm reading the wrong ordinance. But it says, I'll just kind of summarize here. I'll read the title and then what's confusing me. So it says, an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage, blah, blah, blah. Municipal Code, Chapter 3, Article 3, relating to liquor license and adding classes of tavern licenses without gaming. Then we drop down to the third whereas. And it says, whereas the village believes it's in the best interest of its residents and taxpayers to amend the Villa Park Municipal Code to add the number 3, new classifications for a liquor license and establish the initial issuance fee and the annual fee for the new classification. So this is why I think maybe I'm reading the wrong one, because as I look under 11, it says, an ordinance amending Chapter 3, Article 3 of the Village Code, creating a, as in singular, a new liquor license category, Quad A, that would be AAAA, 4 A's, to allow the sale of liquor at a tavern without gaming. So juxtapose that with add 3 new classifications, all the more reason to look further into this and not pass this on the first go-around. Yet again, everything I thought I knew, I don't know anymore, and is in question.
Well, that just looks like, was it?
If I could, there's, Trustee Kumar has her hand up, but I could answer to
Go
that.
ahead, answer.
So, yeah, originally I had designed it to have a qualification for a separate license for each of the 3 categories under tavern without gaming, but instead, after talking to President Kazone and the attorney, decided to just mimic, which was more close to the direction of the board, just to mimic what we had with the Quad E. So originally there was going to be an A1, AA1, AAA1, but we're just making one that has unlimited, so you could have liquor, wine, or beer for sale. It is a slightly lower cost for this license, so to Trustee Kumar's point, it is possible that there are businesses out there who currently have a license that would allow gaming. If they came in for this license, it would they would be able to save a small amount of money on their license. And if they wanted to, we would then have to adjust the number of licenses. They would have to go through the board to get increase in the number of Quad A or Quad E. and then we would also want to reduce the number of whatever license they had previously. But that's why it said 3, because I was looking at doing 3 different types.
So is that what the request of the board, the trustees, was in that last meeting? To come up with that?
You said quad, what you said particularly was quad A.
Right. I believe, and again, I mean, we postponed that minute so that I could review what the video actually did, not knowing that I had to do that coming into the meeting, but as I've said, everything I thought I knew, remember. But, so what you're telling me is different from what the trustees asked to have done for this meeting.
The enacting component of the ordinance does not include the whereas clauses. It appears that the village manager had a different iteration of the original ordinance that included that third whereas clause that now is essentially a typographical error, but that can be fixed. The ordaining component of the ordinance establishes a class quadruple A ordinance, which is essentially a tavern liquor license with no gaming, which was the direction of the board.
Okay, so somewhere buried in there, we have the direction of the board, but then we have other things, or typos, or misstatements, or something else. I mean, I'm getting to the point here. Does nobody listen or respect the trustees? Are we not the elected officials of the village to make decisions, our best decisions possible for the village, without having a president going rogue and greenlighting things, without having a manager going rogue and adding things, without
Wait a
having an
minute.
attorney miscite the law?
No, you know what? The board had direction to come up with a liquor license allowing the sale of liquor but prohibiting gaming. And that is what was brought up. Now, there was one mistake made in there, which was caught by the board up here, but you know what? I mean, the last guy that was perfect was a long time ago. So sometimes, people make mistakes, and it's not an intentional mistake. As Manager Harline said, his first goal was to have separate beer and wine and then liquor, but we already had a Quad E that allows everything. So as we discussed it, and we discussed it with the attorney, and said, why not just make this one, to make it simple, just the same as the Quad E, only it's for a tavern.
And at all times, and the motive of the presentation of this ordinance before this board was to follow the direction of the board and establish a license for taverns that did not allow gaming.
And pardon me, but trying to come up with other solutions, the board did not give me any direction as to how much the cost of the license should be. And there are other elements that the staff always has to fill in from direction, and if you've ever looked at rulemaking in the state or federal level, there are always gaps in legislation. There are always gaps in direction from the legislative branch, and that's fine. That's the way it's supposed to work, so there was no ill intent. But yes, there is a vestigial element of trying to come up with something that was perhaps more robust than the original suggestion from the board, and I apologize for that.
Trustee Kumar.
I actually am in favor of coming up with that residual aspect. I think that was kind of forethought on your part, Matt, and I thank you for that. I'm not, I think there was a mistake made. It happens. I also know that it wasn't made in an ill intent. That being said, I do not know if I could remove the motion I made. Is that the way to go about it, or we have to vote no on the motion I made to have a second reading? Because I think to Trustee Cordova's part, even this mistake or whatever has brought me to the point that this needs another look. It needs another look in terms of types. It needs another look in terms of, the pricing structure. And I am in favor of having more licenses without the gaming aspect. I think there may be some people who, to save a few bucks, may decide to get a license, which is a AA or whatever the other categories are. And that way we know where they are. We got this beautiful mapping from our community development director. It was very enlightening to me to look at that map and see where the licenses fall, how we have the license, and I really thank the staff for getting that back to me, and I do really appreciate the staff taking the effort to think about this in detail. I'm sorry that a kind of a mistake happened, but things happen, as was said. What is the best way to address this, though, Melissa?
So maybe call the vote on the motion to waive first reading, and if this board wants this considered at the October 28th meeting, you would vote no for
Okay,
it.
thank you.
And you can have further discussion on any direction for staff.
Okay.
Trustee Patrick?
My question is that if a business is denied a liquor license, how long, if they want to apply for another one, will the process take total? So
Is
if,
there anything in our ordinance about that?
This, we'll have to look at that issue, but the denial of the liquor license only comes from the liquor commissioner, the
Well,
actual liquor commissioner. But
I
with
under-
respect to the ordinance that is increasing, opening up a liquor license,
I understand that, and that's what I intended, is how long, if a business is denied a liquor permit from the liquor commissioner, or it is not approved by the board to have that opening of a type of a liquor license, if that business wanted to apply for a different liquor license, how long does that process take?
it would depend on the reason for the denial. If it was simply because the license wasn't opened up and they wanted, then they could immediately apply for a different liquor
They
license.
could immediately apply. Okay, so then my next question is trustee Cordova, do you still feel that you need the adequate time to review this like others? If so, I will also vote no, just like the other trustees are asking for, against waiving the second reading. Do you need more time?
Yeah, I'm gonna need more time. It just feels like there's a lot of questions here.
Okay.
So all we're doing essentially with the business that was in here earlier is if this is the route it takes, we're only delaying that process by 2 weeks. If they automatically apply for a new license, potentially the one that we talk about in 11A.
This ordinance only establishes the classification.
And again,
It doesn't increase, it doesn't have an open license. There still is no open license. So you'd have to wait until the application occurs, and then thereafter, this board would, if the license classification was in existence, this board would have to increase that license to 1. Because right now, as written, it would just be 0.
my question then is how, an estimated time frame of how long that will take? How long will it take a business to actually get a new license if this one is created?
If it's this business that's already gone through the background check process and evaluation by the liquor commissioner, it would take a meeting
One meeting?
or 2
Or two, yeah.
to change,
Okay. Thank you.
change the classification.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, motion to waive the first reading, Clerk Kornecki.
Okay, trustee Cordova,
No.
trustee Alfano,
No.
trustee Kozar,
No.
trustee Patrick,
No.
trustee Kumar.
No.
President Casson.
No. Okay, so we'll bring that back on the October 28th meeting. Okay, item 11B is an ordinance amending the Villa Park Municipal Code to authorize the village manager to enter into contracts consistent with the manager's purchasing authority. Manager Harline.
Yes, the proposed ordinance for first reading would authorize the amendment to the Village Park Municipal Code to vest the village manager with the authority to enter into contracts for the purchase of equipment, materials, supplies, and services necessary for the village consistent with the manager's purchasing authority up to an amount of $25,000 without requiring a prior approval from the Board of Trustees. Staff recommends approval of this ordinance, although we are not asking for waiving of the first reading. And the purpose of this is, recently, the fire department came to me. We have got some, extension of some contracts for maintenance on AEDs and maintenance on the heart monitor equipment. Technically, those would probably require, or re-upping contracts, I should say, technically, those would require bringing those before the board, and they are on the agenda later in this meeting. A lot of those things, I think we have been signing without bringing to the board. Technically, they should be. This would give the authority to continue with what had been prior practice, and for those kinds of ordinance, for short one-year or maintenance contracts, to allow the village manager to have the authority that's vested at $25,000 to be able to modify, to enter into those contracts. It would not include contracts with other organizations like an IGA or something like that, even if there was no value in terms of a strict dollar value to the contract.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Kumar,
I'm making a motion to waive the second reading on this.
waive the first.
I mean, waive the first reading.
Okay, we have a motion to waive.
I'll
Trustee
second
Cordova,
that, yeah.
second. Questions or comments? Trustee Cordova.
I mean, like Manager Hartline just said, if there is, if the fire department needs something that, if they ask for this, on the 17th of September, it has to wait all the way, essentially a month to get here for approval. So, yeah, let's speed that up.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Alfano.
Manager Harline, thank you for your explanation. That was my question, was what if this was connected to our other agenda item, because I figured it had something to do with the AEDs and those sorts of things, just to know why it would be an ask. So that makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Those are good examples,
Yeah,
but there's
that
been
makes
things with the police department, other departments too,
Sure.
that, yeah, so.
Hey, Clerk Hernecki, motion to waive the first reading.
Okay, Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Alfano.
Yes.
President Cassell.
Yes. Okay, so we waive the first reading. Do we have a motion for the ordinance itself? Trustee Cordova.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a second. Trustee Kumar. Okay, questions or comments on the ordinance? Okay, Clerk Hernecki.
Okay, Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
Trustee Alfano,
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
Trustee Kozar,
Yes.
President Cassell.
Yes. Okay, we tabled 12A, or 13A is an ordinance granting a special use for a wireless telecommunication tower and antenna for the property located at 1250 South Ardmore Avenue in the Village of Villa Park. And staff recommends approval of the ordinance as presented. We have a motion?
I'll make that motion to approve the ordinance as presented.
Okay, you have a second? Trustee Kumar. Okay, questions or comments? Trustee Patrick.
I was hoping that the village could explain to the public why the agenda states approve the ordinance as presented, as opposed to staff approving this ordinance.
Major Howard.
I'm going to ask our attorney to answer that question. It's basically because this is an agreement we've essentially made, but I'll let the attorney explain it better.
With respect to why the agenda just says approve the ordinance as presented, I can't provide a substantive explanation for that, except that there is a memorandum that's attached to the agenda packet that explains why that action is recommended. Essentially, the memorandum attached to this item in the agenda packet says that the consent order that was entered by the judge in the pending federal litigation that was entitled Towerco versus Villa Park, case number 1:23-CV15263, that consent order orders the village to approve this ordinance authorizing the issuance of a special use permit to Towerco to allow for the construction and installation of a wireless telecommunication facility at the property located at 1250 South Ardmore Avenue. in accordance with site plans that were revised, that include the reduction of the height of the tower, as well as the expansion of the setback location of the tower. So this ordinance is required by court order in this case.
Thank you for clarifying.
And also, it should, so the residents know, they did reduce the height of the tower, and they moved it farther south, so it's farther away from High Ridge Road and the Islamic Foundation there. Any other questions? Clerk Kornecki?
Okay, trustee Kozar,
Yes.
trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Patrick.
Yes.
Trustee Cordova,
Yes.
trustee Kumar,
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Okay, so we get on to resolutions, and we'll move in item 10D, resolution of the Village of Villa Park authorizing a memorandum of understanding between Public Safety Cadets of Virginia and the Villa Park Police Department regarding a program to educate and mentor youth. This resolution authorizes the village police chief to execute a memorandum of understanding between public safety cadets and the Village of Villa Park to cooperate on a program to educate and mentor youth. Staff recommends approval of the resolution. Do we have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Do we have a second? Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Okay, questions or comments? Trustee Patrick?
First of all, I don't know a lot about this, and I would ask that our police chief explain what this is. I think mentoring our youth in the ways of policing and public safety is a very valuable asset, especially to our community. So I'd just like to know, myself and some public would like to know what this is about as well.
Thank you for the question. In years past, the Villa Park Police Department has had an Explorer program, as you know, where they've successfully trained 10 people to go on to be police officers in several different departments. So it's a very successful program. We found in subsequent years, the Explorer program and its relationship with the Boy Scouts of America, there really hasn't been a focus on law enforcement through that organization. It's more expensive than the current program we're looking at, and there is a national content to it that allows for competitions and awards and things like that. There's also training and resources that are now available at a national level, where the BSA connection with the Explorers is not really there. So we're going to continue the program, much of the same training, but we just have access to more, and it's cheaper.
My question to you is, are we able to promote this program at the high schools, at levels like this, to promote our youth to engage in this program?
Well, currently, we have 5 members in our cadet program.
In our cadet program?
It's always tough. It's
Yeah.
been tough for years in gaining support and getting members to join. I think the people that we have doing it, Detective Heyman, is excellent at what he does, and provides a myriad of different topics that they talk about. The training provided is all there. It's just the willingness of the public to engage.
Absolutely. One thing that I'd like to comment on, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that Villa Park, with its resources, can't necessarily match the same type of pay that other municipalities can pay their officers. That's correct, right? We are at one of the lower end of the pay scales for entry-level police officers.
That is factual.
And I believe that also there is a nationwide issue regarding officer retention and just general availability of new cadets to going to these programs, or not this program in particular, but to going to the academy.
Well, the industry across the board is down on members across the board.
Right.
Whether it's a basic officer trying to get on a list to apply for a police department, laterals, just the employment pool is so much smaller than it has been in previous years.
I think a program like this is excellent, and I think that the village board needs to seriously considering funding more for a program like this. And the reason why I say this is because of the issues that we had just discussed about how our resources, we cannot necessarily always compete with other municipalities that can pay their officers more, which gives us an even smaller pool of candidates to choose from. But that being said, we also, when we do hire those candidates, they could stay on until they get certified and then leave for another position that's higher paying, which also causes us a retention issue as far as our officers go. I know in the next few years especially, our police department is going to be experiencing people leaving, and we are going to need to have officers present. We need more officers as it is right now. So when I talk about this program, and I request that the village look into how we could fund this more, it plays into that aspect of officer retention, because when you involve a youth in a program like this at such a young age, they become a stakeholder in this. And that is what I think we have to rely on when it comes to officer retention. Because when we do put our youth through a program like this, they have value in knowing that they did this in Villa Park, and that's where they want their job to be. And just because Elmhurst, Naperville, or even the city can offer them more money, they're going to stay with us because of that connection, of that homegrown atmosphere here. So that is my request to the board, is that first of all, we approve this, but also we talk more about this, because we do have a problem coming up on our hands regarding quality officers and retention, and we need to focus on this. We need to provide more opportunities for officers and grow that homegrown officer here in town so we can retain quality officers. We already have officers that have worked their ways up the ranks from being in our Explorer program, and our Explorer program is great, and everybody is doing a great job. We need to really tune in on this and address a problem that is coming by offering whatever it can be, budget-wise, funds to help advance this program and get these officers going in our streets. And I highly recommend that the village come up with a strategy for recruitment into this as well. So that way we can go to Willowbrook, we can go to Addison Trail, we can go to other locations that will entice these young youth to come and enter this program, so that way we could try to address our retention problems and our quality of officers that we have availability to. That's my request to the board. Thank you, Chief.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
Just a quick question on my part.
Let's
So
go to-
when we talk about entry-level police officers and pay, that comes from the union? That comes to, can you just explain how that works for me? Just, entry level is X amount of dollars, there's a range, or there's a band or whatever it would be. How does that get negotiated?
Correct. There's a collective bargaining agreement that is made with the village and the three unions that we have. And there's a pay scale, and there's different steps in that pay scale. So the starting pay, let's say arbitrarily $80,000. And then through the different steps through X amount of years, it obviously goes up in pay until you top out and at the top pay, and now as it is 6 years. Does that help? your
Yeah, and when is that, it's every 6 years that agreement kind of gets reevaluated?
No, there's actually, for the patrol contract is coming up May of 2025.
Okay, all right, perfect. That's what I was asking. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Clerk Konecki.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar? Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
President Casal?
Yes. Okay, item 14A is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a contract with Bear Construction Company through Sourcewell for the purchase and installation of HVAC system at Fire Station 82. Manager Harling.
This resolution authorizes the village manager to execute work order number 131373.00 issued by Sourcewell under Sourcewell contract number IL-R1-GC-122122-BEA for the purchase and installation of a 400 MBH Lochinvar boiler and Mitsubishi ductless split AC system, and approving a contract with Bear Construction Company of Rolling Meadows, Illinois, on behalf of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois. These items are for improvements at Fire Station 82 through Sourcewell Purchasing Cooperative in a total amount of $119,712.55. Funds are budgeted in the village's calendar year 2024 budget building fund for this project. Qualifying fire department grant funds will also be utilized for this project as appropriate. Staff recommends approval of the resolution.
Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion? Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
A second? Trustee Cordova? Questions or comments? A quick question. How old is Station 82? Okay. 1965. Okay, thank you. Just curious on that. Okay, questions, comments? Clerk Kornecki?
Okay, trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Kozar,
Yes.
trustee Cordova.
Yes.
President Kazal.
Yes. Item 14B is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a contract with Russo Power Equipment of Naperville, Illinois, for the purchase of a Kubota RTV X1100 CWL-HS through Sourcewell Purchasing Cooperative, a total amount of $47,466.27. Manager Harlan.
This resolution authorizes the village manager to purchase a Kubota RTV X1100 CWL-HS with cab, rotary broom, bed-mounted spreaders, V-plow, safety equipment, and other features listed on quote number 2798749 under Sourcewell Purchasing Contract 122220 KBA. Russo's Power Equipment of Naperville, Illinois is the Kubota dealer and Sourcewell agent for this machine. The price of this machine is $466.27. Funds will be taken from the equipment fund, capital outlay account number 65.502.02.401. Staff recommends approval of this resolution.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for the resolution?
I make that motion.
Trustee Cordova, do we have a second? Trustee Alfano? Okay, questions or comments? Clerk Kornecki?
Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Cordova,
Yes.
trustee Alfano.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
President Kazal.
Yes. Item 14C is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving the purchase of a Toro Sand Pro 5040 from Reindeers, Inc. of Mundelein, Illinois, through Sourcewell Purchasing Cooperative in the amount of $49,910. Manager Harlan.
This resolution would authorize the village manager to execute a purchase order to purchase a Toro Sand Pro 5040 with Sport Field Edger, QAS Finisher Grader, Groomer with Scarifier, and Springtime Drag Mat Ron QAS Lip Broom, hydraulics, and other features listed on quote number 145135 through the pre-bid Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Organization. Rangers of Mundelein, Illinois is the Toro dealer and the Sourcewell agent for this machine. The price for the machine is $49,910, and funds will be taken from the equipment fund, capital outlay, account number 65.502.02.401. Staff recommends approval of this resolution.
Thank you.
I'll
A
make
motion?
that motion.
Trustee Cordova, I have a second. Trustee Alfano. Okay,
Yes.
questions or comments? Trustee Cordova.
If no one has had the opportunity to look at the Toro Sand Pro 5040 with the Sport Field Edger and all these other pieces, it's actually really, really cool, and it's a game changer for our sports and different leveling of fields. So this is going to be a great piece for the village and the children and everyone that plays sports.
Good.
We like to bring some of these things around when they come in, so maybe
Yeah,
we'll
what
have
you do,
some-
touch a truck, you know, the whole
Yeah,
thing.
there you go. Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Trustee Kumar.
I really would like to take a look at this really great machine at one point.
When it comes in, make sure you bring it by the
Yeah.
month.
You're doing rides.
We got a dump truck coming, or a tandem truck coming in soon, so we plan to let you guys see that one
Up
too.
front.
Yeah, okay. Okay, Clerk Kornecki.
Okay, trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Cordova,
Yes.
trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Patrick.
Yes.
President Kazal.
Yes. Okay. Item 14D is a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with the Illinois Department of Transportation for implementing Intelligent Transportation Systems, ITS, modernization along Illinois Route 64, which is North Avenue. Manager Harlan.
This resolution authorizes the village president to execute an intergovernmental agreement with the Illinois Department of Transportation for implementing Intelligent Transportation Systems, ITS, modernization along Illinois Route 64. The Illinois Department of Transportation, or IDOT, will begin a project on North Avenue to modernize the traffic signals with intelligent transportation systems that include signal timing, changeable message signs, new signing, traffic surveillance, ADA improvements, along with other necessary work. This work will also update the preemptive devices at the intersections of Westwood and Lincoln, Addison, Villa, along with the construction for cost signal improvements at Michigan and Illinois 64, which is the village's responsibility. Staff recommends approval of the intergovernmental, the IGA with IDOT, to participate in their project to modernize the signals along Illinois North Avenue, Illinois 64, also known as North Avenue.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a motion for the resolution. Trustee Kumar. Second, Trustee Alfano. Questions, comments? Trustee Kumar.
So the modernization is just bringing up to date all the signals and making them more appropriate for today and growth in the future?
Yes, did you want to?
Director Guerrera would
Yeah.
love to give you some information.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, this is a project initiated by IDOT, so it is bringing fiber down North Avenue to interconnect all the signals. That's the intelligent portion, and then they are replacing the signal heads, the cabinets, all the electronic components and arms, along with updating the ramps and crosswalks, pedestrian signals. So, yeah, it's pretty much redoing all of the signals and bringing them up to date, and then interconnecting them through fiber so that it can be responsive. If you ever go to the control room, they have cameras. This has the cameras included, so that's the project. Yes.
Yeah, Trustee Kumar.
And the responsiveness is also possibly helpful to our the police and fire department, I assume, in terms of efficiency.
Correct. So our portion is IDOT doesn't cover the preemptive devices, oftentimes called Opticons. That's kind of a named brand, but that's the devices utilized by our police and fire and our first responders, that they can preempt the signals to go green to provide a safer crossing for them and the traveling public through those signals.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I did want to point something out that isn't in the text of the resolution or the what's in the agenda, and I want to make sure that the board is aware of that before you approve that. And that is there is a cost to this to the village of $354,000. I don't know.
That is correct. The corresponding next resolution is to pass a resolution to utilize our MFT fund, our motor fuel tax, to cover our portion in that, as described. Michigan and Illinois 64 North Avenue is 100% village-owned. That was put in as part of that, I believe, shopping center. So we bear the whole cost on that. Similarly, we bear the full cost of preemptive devices. Like I said, that's per village, not an IDOT requirement.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions? Clerk Kornecki.
Okay, Trustee Kozar,
Yes.
Trustee Alfano,
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Patrick.
Yes.
President Casal.
Yes. Okay, item 14E is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving membership fees and hours of operation for the Villa Park Recreation Center. Manager Harline.
This resolution this resolution would approve the rates for the first year of Villa Park Recreation Center operation. The new Villa Park Recreation Center is scheduled to open to the public shortly after the new year begins. Memberships for the fitness center will go on sale in November of 2024, along with the hours of operation made public. Staff and the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission recommend fees as listed and hours of operation as listed, pending the input from the Village Board of Trustees.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I have a motion for the resolution. Trustee Cordova?
If I'll make the motion.
Okay, second. Trustee Kumar. Okay, questions or comments? Okay, seeing none?
No.
Actually, oh, okay. Trustee Alfano.
I do have some questions. One of my questions actually comes from a resident who wanted to know with the membership, what would the availability be of like the basketball court and the pickleball court, especially for people who are working? Is there going to be programming that is scheduled at that time? Like what's the availability? What is that expected to look like?
I think Director Gola can answer that.
Good evening. We also have Assistant Director Racanelli here too, and she does all the programming. But yes, we will make times available. There's going to be open gyms in the evening. The memberships will include the weight room and the stretching area, the gym, use of the gym. So there will be times. Now, there will be league nights. Thursdays are usually volleyball. So usually that will last the whole evening. Same with if we're doing a new men's basketball league, same thing. But we will make some times available for sure.
Trustee Kumar.
Will there be a active calendar so people know today, not today, something active running?
We'll have.
Because that's the biggest thing, people wanna come out. Pickleball is a really big thing, I don't know, yeah, and yes, we got, private entities running pickleball in town, but there are a lot of people who can't afford or are looking to our recreation center for things like that. And so, that's,
Well, the nice thing is that we have the drop-down screens where we can have basketball on one side of the court, pickleball on the other side, and we can open up some different times for that, and we will make schedule available, yes, on specific programming and then the open times.
Okay, and I'm still waiting for the specific programming, new happening. I know you guys is it a new business? I don't know.
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay.
Good. Trustee Patrick.
Thank you. Director Gola, under the membership fees, a family of 4 early bird discount is $680. The regular rate after that is $760. That is a lot of money for a family of 4 too, as well. What do our residents get for $760, a family of 4, with that package, besides just the access to the treadmills?
Yeah, they'll have access to the weight room, they'll have access to the stretching area, they'll have access to the walking track, and also access to the gymnasium.
Is that it?
That's it.
So for $760, they only get access to that. They don't get access to any other programming, they don't get anything else. Do you have how much it's going to cost for open gym for kids that want to come in and play basketball?
We do. I can defer to Gina, she has all that information. There is a daily open gym fee. I believe Gina's at $9. You can come up here.
So really quick, though, these are all things that our residents want to know. And listen, I understand that we have to charge a fee. If it were up to me, I would like this to be completely free for our residents who end up paying for it, but I understand that that's not the case. But I do have a lot of residents asking me, what do they get for their money here? What's included with that? I think we might have some challenges getting people to fulfill this, especially when they don't even know what types of programmings that we've been asking that are new and unique. So that's my question, is what comes, why should a Villa Park resident, a family of 4, pay $760 for this membership? What do they get with that?
Well, you get, you're active, you're gonna work out, you're gonna shoot hoops with your family. The main thing is being physical and active and use of the facility. The memberships, we try, like, the early bird membership for an individual is $250. So, if you did an individual for 4 people, it's $1,000. So we give you a little price break on that. And there is a youth cost as well. We do have youth.
Is there a way that you can put all of this information into one document that can be shared with the public, so that way they know? I get a lot of questions too saying, hey, the MAC over in Lombard only charges like $7 per person. That would be listed under membership fees or a breakdown of what our residents get. Because we are asking a lot of questions about why it costs so much and what they get.
Table. It should have been.
It's
Yeah, it's in there.
Was included.
It's in there. Mhm.
Yeah,
I didn't get it in my packet. It stops at page 193.
It's there.
It's in the
Page
memo,
212.
and it's also in the
It's-
resolution.
It's there.
Not in mine.
I don't know.
yeah, a family of four on average pays $743 at between Lombard, Downers Grove, Glen Ellen, Glendale Heights, Westmont, Wheaton Park District. So you get a substantial discount staying in Villa Park. That's why the difference between resident and non-resident. I think, yeah, it looks like you cut off at the bottom there.
Yeah, mine's cut off, so I don't have that. So I didn't see that my attachment is not.
Or even answer questions regarding fees until the board approves the fees. So, once that happens, then.
Well, I think my issue is why would I approve a fee if I don't know what's being even offered to the resident exactly? So I think I would like more information about what you're going to be talking about later regarding the new and unique programming that we've been asking for.
The programming wouldn't be included in the fee, those are individual.
No, but it offers our residents an idea of what's going to be offered there as well, along with like, and apparently I don't have the page that was sent to me because it's cut off about like open gym fees and things like that, so.
I can just tell you, the open gym, track and pickleball daily fee is $6 for an adult and $5 for a child.
Okay. And I don't need that necessarily. I didn't have it here. So those are the questions that I'm asking regarding like what our residents are saying. Like, so they're only getting access to the weight room in the Cybex or whatever equipment's going in there and the walking track. Well, the gym though, you said will have reserved dates, right? And times?
Dates and times, weekly.
Okay. And those have already been established, so that way we could accommodate open gym and things like that?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
We'll have some leagues that'll go on, and usually it's 2 nights a week in leagues. And then we'll have some reserve times for the youth basketball. We'll have some practice times, but we'll have times available after school, early evenings for open.
Is there ever going to be a time period that gym is not being utilized?
There could be. We want to fill that gym up as much as possible.
How are we going to fill that up?
We would, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say.
She's the program.
We're talking, there's already been some outside sources wanting to rent space from
Okay.
us. We won't make a commitment to that until we see that we're fulfilling what we need for the residents. So
Okay.
yes, I do think, I'm hoping there will be some times to make it available to some other groups, which would bring people in and then maybe attract them to, purchasing membership or coming to some of our classes.
Thank you.
Trustee
We're open
Kumar.
on Saturday and Sunday, too, from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's what we're asking for. So the hours are extended. It's not the same as, what we're doing at the Iowa Community Center.
Have you considered the type of, I should say, there are a lot of families out there that you could cater a membership like this to, whereas opposed to like something that I've said before, for $20 a month, I could go to Vasa Fitness and have the bells and whistles. Now, I understand that that is a private company and that we don't compete with that, but knowing that, how have we been taking into consideration the groups of residents in Villa Park that we can cater to make sure that we are filling that space with people that will actually use it and want to be there?
Well, the team, the rec team, did a lot of research with neighboring communities to find out what was being offered other places. So in order to be competitive with the neighboring communities, that is the type of package that we put together to present to you tonight. But there's a lot of opportunity here, and I personally don't see a family with young children buying a membership to the center because children under 12 can't use the fitness center anyway.
So so are we not going to cater the new recreation center to residents that have kids younger than 12?
No, people that are, families that have children younger than 12, there's a lot of other things they can do.
Programming.
Yes,
But that's an additional cost
and-
onto a membership.
yes, it's not going to be included in membership, correct.
It's two different costs. You have.
Hang on,
Sorry.
Trustee Cole, go ahead.
So I just want to make sure that all of our residents are going to be able to utilize this facility.
I foresee the building being filled with kids from very young to senior citizens, yes.
But that membership fee for a family of four for $760 has nothing to do with kids 12 and under, because, except for programming, which is an additional cost?
Programming, open gym, they can do that as well. They can be part of our leagues, our youth leagues, yes. But not using the equipment in the fitness center.
So for $760 for a family of four, a 12 and under cannot use that facility unless it's the basketball court?
The kids that are under 12, and that's kind of an industry standard, typically are not using equipment in the fitness center. So they wouldn't be purchasing.
So,
But I'm thinking that a family of four is going to be, two parents and kids that are in high school.
so how do we cater that price to residents that are 12 and under, or adults have 12 and under? Because in a family of four, too, there might be age differences, too, where you might have older than 12, but one younger than that can't participate with a membership like that. So what I'm asking is, how can we make sure that we include 12 and under with a membership fee like that would reflect that cost?
There would be other things available for children under 12 to do. That would not necessarily be costly.
But for example, what are those?
We will have a lot of opportunities for open gyms, different sports, different things like that. So that's $5 for a child to go into the.
But what I'm saying is that is an extra $5 added on to the cost of the membership.
Yeah, hang on, can I?
Yeah, go ahead, Trustee Cordova.
So let me just ask the question.
Right.
Do you, Gina?
Right.
Yeah, do you?
So
Go ahead. I think you have it.
Trustee Cordova.
So if you do not have to buy the family membership in order to take advantage of the programming. So if it's Tiny Tots soccer on Saturday mornings inside, you do not have to buy the family of four package or the membership in order to participate in that and get a resident rate for that.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay. I think that might be the
Sorry if
confusion
I
here.
didn't understand.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, if I have a family of four and one of them's 13, the other one's 9, do I have to get the family of four in order for my little guy to play soccer? The answer is no.
No,
Just like it is now, you could sign up for whatever you need in that booklet, but the nice thing is, for a family of four, for $680, you can go, you can work out, you can do the track, you can play basketball on Saturday mornings or Saturday evening, whatever it would be. So yes, there's two different things.
So a family of four, though, if the parents of the children wanted to go work out while the other kids did whatever, what would happen to the 12 and under kids? Where would they go? What would they be doing on any random day?
If the parents were working out during a time when we had an open program or a class that was scheduled during that time, then the other child, the child who was under 12 could participate in that.
Okay.
Trustee Kumar.
I think this structure, that there needs to be a little clarity when the publishing happens, because if I was thinking family of four membership, and I went to buy a family of four, luckily my family of four at this point involves all people above, age 12, but if I was a family of four and I had a 12-year-old, I would think they would have something to do when I buy the membership, and it looks like they don't. So I think that needs to be clarified very clearly when we publish, when we actually accept and publish it, that this membership is ideal for those only over 12. Now, another aspect, I think, how you could make this membership Also ideal for those under 12 is to give a discount on programming in some way. If you buy the family membership, then they get a $3 discount or something on the programs they sign up for. That enables people to both sign up for programs and be part of the membership. I do not know if they had this discussion or you guys have had this discussion before. I wasn't privy to that. I think that might be a way of getting everybody involved and also making it beneficial to those who have kids under 12. You want to sign up people with kids under 12 so they stay in your, it's a growth thing. Once you get in, you oftentimes will stay in. You get used to it. Your kids grow up with it. They like the place. They're used to biking there. You will stay in. So I think we need to have some kind of subsidization. If you have a membership, if you get the family of 4, well then, okay, the kids get $3 off whatever they're doing. That kind of way, then people might just buy the whole membership for their family in that case. I'm not sure, but I think that's a possibility.
Trustee Alfano.
Thank you. I want to thank staff for putting together all of that information. I really do appreciate seeing those comps. That really did help in preparing for today. I know that there was some discussion over some bundle packaging with maybe offering the pool, and maybe that's part of the answer with 12 and under. Maybe it lies in somehow getting a pool pass for a 12 and under. I don't know the answer to that. I know that we had some public comment maybe 2 meetings ago that was talking about bundling rather than just having a membership just solely for the rec center to come and work out. But I'm also just kind of concerned right now to make a decision tonight, and I would like to make a motion to postpone this discussion because I would like to see what the programming is going to be offered as well, so that we can sit first for 2 reasons. First of all, I want the public to really be able to digest this and our discussion. But then I also would like to hear what that programming is that we would be able to say like, hey, 12-year-old, you can do this while, or under 12, you can do this while we're working out. I think it's really difficult for me personally to make that decision, not knowing that component. That's all. But thank you. I know that you're working really hard to put this all together.
We can investigate all those avenues. The hard thing with programming is, if we have an instructor and when, if it's at 5 o'clock, our parent's gonna come work out at 5 or 6 o'clock, whatever it is, and their instructor. So that there's some maneuvering that we have to do with instruction and times off and that thing. But
Sure.
the membership fee was primarily for the weight room and, working out. So yeah, we can certainly look into a discount. You buy your family membership and, then take $3 off a program, or whatever. That's not a problem.
Okay.
We can certainly investigate that.
Okay.
And look into that.
I have made a motion, though, to postpone this to our next meeting.
Okay.
But
We
Need a
we have
second.
a motion to postpone the resolution until October 28th.
I'll second that.
Okay. Questions or comments?
I do.
Yeah.
Thank you. Director Gola, really quick. As is, I would not have any issues approving this if you think this is the best for our residents that we can give. My question to you, though, is moving forward, are we going to be able to review these rates and times on an annual basis?
Yep.
Okay.
We had that discussion at our rec commission. We proposed the 6 a.m. start time. We could, even go a little bit earlier. Staffing, that might be a challenge a little bit at, 5 or 5:30 in the morning, but we can certainly adjust those times, and we can adjust the rates as well, and even give a little bit we do have an early bird registration period.
Yeah.
And maybe we make it a little bit more of a discount on an early bird to get the folks in.
So for where we stand right now with our situation with the new rec center, you are saying that these are the best rates that we're coming up with right now, based on your experience with
Correct.
everything? Okay.
And based on the surrounding park districts that
Okay.
we've talked to.
Another question is
Trustee Kumar.
possibilities of child care. for those 12 and under? Do we have any availability of that in our rec center?
We do have the preschool rooms, but, it's all, again, with the programming that we have, it's based on timing. Is there something going to be available in the day? See, this is all new. We've got to kind of juggle the schedule. We do
yes.
have the assault meetings, the seniors use the senior room. We did, so there's a lot of different rooms that we could figure something out, but we have to investigate that.
Yeah, because that is another option. Discounted childcare as part of this is another option, because if you don't know, see, it's very hard for a family of four to get out there, get their exercise in with their two kids if one of them is under 13. And having had kids that are 9 years apart, it was very difficult to get out to do things when one is in one thing and another. So I've faced that, and I can corroborate that there are other families. There are families that have younger children and older children. We need to give them options in some way. There may not be a program that kid wants to be in at the exact time they want to run in the gym, right? It's going to happen. So they need an option, a drop-off, someplace they can leave their kid at one point. There are traveling parents, there are there is a ton of single-family homes in Villa Park. They have to have options. They cannot leave their children at home alone and go to the gym. And this gym is for all our citizens, not just a very specific set of citizens in our town. So I think we need to contemplate those hours as well, cost as well, maybe discounting childcare if they have a membership. These are very important, especially, I know, for single parent households.
And we have to gauge is the interest in childcare, which, we could adjust if there's a significant amount of parents that are looking for childcare and sign up, where you don't want to offer childcare and have an instructor or somebody there and have one person, we wouldn't cover our costs just to pay. So
I think
we have to gauge the interest on that.
Well, gauging interest is one thing. Another is pocketing the timings, which are clear, 5 to 7. Keeping the timings short.
Right.
So those parents who do want to get a very specific, but it has to be ideal also. Having it, for a single parent home, having it between 9 and 10, 11 in the morning is impossible because that person has to work. So it has to be ideal. We have to consider our families and what they need. And I think it's something we really need to look into, especially for selling this membership to more people and as families, to get our families exercising, being healthier. We want that.
Okay. Trustee Cordova.
So I've sat on the Parks and Rec Commission for 8 years, and we've been talking about this for years and years and years. And as a person that actually spends a lot of money at other park districts and facilities, I can tell you that this pricing is so much cheaper than anything that I'm saving for. The second piece is parents that have children that are actually physically fit and they make the opportunity for themselves to go in. I drop my kids off at school. I go work out for an hour. After school, we pick up the kids. My wife wants to work out. We go. They play basketball. I play with them. And then we go home as a family. Everyone gets a little bit of fitness in there, and then we get home. So this is built, and this pricing is built to bring people back to Villa Park, as opposed to Lombard, as opposed to Downers Grove, as opposed to going to somewhere private. This gives that opportunity, and the pricing is right where if you're going to a Lombard and paying a non-resident rate, you're actually going to save a lot more money coming back to Villa Park. There's a couple differences in amenities, size of fitness centers, but for the most part, I feel as though this pricing structure and the structure of the membership is right where Villa Park should be. I can tell you, with my kids, I have 3 of them, they play football. It is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars for them to play for 7 weeks, 8 weeks. This is a whole year worth of fitness, a whole year worth of opportunity for them to get physically fit and then jump into some programming. So I would say, yes, we can postpone everything, but I would also advise that you guys go through this and even go to some of these facilities and see how limited some of the timing and some of the programming is for a non-resident and how cost prohibitive it is for non-residents. So again, thank you to the staff for spending hours and hours and hours and months getting this together. but yeah, more than happy to push if need be.
Okay. Trustee Kumar?
It's, I am not really concerned with the pricing. I do think it's a good deal. I'm not denying it. I just think the issue is with people, single families, as I said, children. A lot of times it's convenient, as you said, because you have a spouse, you have something, you have the ideal to go and switch off. Not everybody has that. So we have to accept that we need to address all our families in town, not just a segment, and that is my concern. And so I would like everybody to get out there. I would like everybody to have the chance. If offering smidgens of childcare makes that happen, then we should do that. If offering a little discount for programming makes that happen, we should do that. That's not a huge amount off the membership. It also possibly will get more people to sign up for this membership and get their foot in the door.
Okay. Any other comments?
Just one, a couple quick ones. There is video out there, I correct me if I'm wrong, from the last Parks Recreation Advisory Committee on the 10th of September and the 8th of October, where they've discussed this. That'll help you with additional information, because I know that it was discussed, and I think there was some, no small amount of public input at those meetings, and so I think that's a valuable piece of input, and so that when we come back in 2 weeks that we're ready, and if there's any questions that you have along, please, there is one bit of a time crunch, and that is we can't start advertising and get in early, offer that early bird special if we don't get it. But, I mean, putting us off to October 28th is not going to severely limit that, so, okay.
Trustee Alfano?
I know that we have a goal of January 3rd, I think, but if we have to push that back a little bit because we need to have this conversation, then we need to have this conversation. These are conversations that we need to have.
Okay. Any other questions? Clerk Kinnicky, motion to postpone until October 28th.
Yes. Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Alfano.
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Patrick.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Person Cassell.
Yes. Okay. Item 14F, resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, establishing the regular meeting dates of the Village Board of Trustees, the regular meeting dates of the Committee of the Whole, the village holidays, and coffee with the board dates for the calendar year 2025. Manager Harline.
This resolution established the meeting dates for regular Village Board of Trustees, Committee of the Whole, and Coffee with the Village Board meetings, and the village holiday schedule for the 2025 calendar year. The Open Meetings Act requires that every public body shall give public notice of the schedule of regular meetings at the beginning of each calendar year. The Villa Park Municipal Code establishes the regular meeting dates of the Board of Trustees for the second and fourth Monday of each month, and the Committee of the Whole meeting dates for the second Monday of each month. The board also establishes the holidays observed by the village on an annual basis. Staff recommends approval of this resolution. This resolution also includes in this original document a meeting on the third Monday of October for the budget meeting, which we would be doing for the fourth consecutive year. And with that,
Okay, thank you. We have a motion for the resolution. Trustee Patrick?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second? Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Okay, questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kinnicky, please.
Trustee Alfano.
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Patrick.
Yes.
Person Cassell.
Yes. And 14G is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, to approve and authorize the execution of a 2-year contract with Stryker Corporation for ProCare services for various fire department equipment. Manager Harline.
this resolution authorizes the village manager to sign a 2-year maintenance contract with Stryker Medical for the ProCare service program. The contract covers the powered ambulance cot and load system on Medic 80, as well as the ProCare service program for the 2 cardiac monitors used on engines 81 and 82. Staff recommends approval of the resolution.
Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion? Trustee Patrick?
I'd like to make that motion.
Second. Trustee Alfano. Okay, questions or comments? Okay, Clerk Kinnicky.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Alfano.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Patrick.
Yes.
President Kazal.
Yes. 14H, a resolution of the Village of Villa Park authorizing the execution of a contract extension with H&H Electric Company for traffic signal maintenance for 1 year. Manager Harline.
This resolution authorizes the village manager to execute an extension of the traffic signal maintenance agreement with H&H Electric for 1 year for the same terms and rates on behalf of the Village of Villa Park, with such changes therein as may be approved by the village manager and village attorney. This contract includes monthly maintenance of the traffic signals along St. Charles Avenue for the intersections of Villa, Ardmore, and Addison Road, and make the necessary repairs. Staff recommends approval of the extension.
Okay. We have a motion for the resolution. Trustee Kumar, we have a second. Trustee Patrick,
Make that second.
questions or comments? Trustee Kumar.
Why do we do this as a one-year thing? I'm just curious.
Let Director Guerra explain why this is a 1-year extension.
Typically, we bid this out for 3-year periods. However, with upcoming projects on Ardmore and Villa, with possible changes, this would just give us a year. They're not changing the terms, so the price was favorable on the bid, so we're just extending it for 1 year. They provided good service over the last year, and so.
Okay, that's my question. This seems like a short turnaround for a bidding contract. Yeah, okay.
Okay, any other questions? Clerk Kornicki, please.
Okay, Trustee Alfano.
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Patrick.
Yes.
President Kazal.
Yes. And 14I is a resolution for the utilization of motor fuel tax funds for the village's portion of the intergovernmental agreement with the Illinois Department of Transportation. Manager Harline.
This resolution authorizes the Village of Villa Park, Illinois, DuPage County to utilize a portion of the village's motor fuel tax funds for its portion of the cost of the intergovernmental agreement with IDOT for the traffic signal modernization project, which we just approved. Staff recommends approval of this resolution in the amount of $354,000.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Second, Trustee Kumar. Questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornicki, please.
Trustee Patrick.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Alfano.
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
President Kazal.
Yes. Okay, item 15A is unfinished business, the Village Hall flag status. Manager Harline.
Yes. I don't know if you noticed outside, but I didn't put together a report because we weren't sure exactly how far we'd get. Brian Roach is here if you want more details, but we have poured the base and it is now setting. They would possibly set the flag as early as tomorrow, possibly. They also, the conduit for the lighting is in, and I'll let Brian go ahead and take credit for the work done, finally.
The base for the flagpole is installed, we concreted it in. We trenched from the pole to the building and installed conduit and wire to about the crawl space on the one side. We have to pull back to the panel. The pool liner is intended to start on Wednesday. There were a few last minute things that we have to finalize over there, so we've shifted to finishing that so that project can start on time, and then we'll be back to this. So the hope is that we have the pole erected by the end of the week, but it depends on a few factors. So.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions? Okay. Thanks, Brian. Okay, item 15B is the Villa Park Rec Center update on new programming.
Yes, the staff is, staff has prepared a presentation, or bit of a presentation on the new programming. There's a brief memo in the packet. Gina Racanelli has been putting together a list of programs. This is not a comprehensive, what is in the packet is not the full comprehensive list of every single program, but that we can provide that for the board if you want. If there's specific things that you'd like to add and have expanded upon. But Gina, do you want to talk a little bit about the programming that you guys have proposed?
So we have a breakdown in the packet that gives you an idea of the different areas, the different program areas that we have. how many programs we offered this calendar year, unique programs as well as total offerings. And for those of you who don't have this in front of you, it was 204 unique programs. That's 204 different programs, 1,122 extended out when you look at all the offerings, as well as sessions and so forth. So we break down the areas, which is listed there, and then in those areas, there's different programs that are available. Some of the areas carry the programs over. So with the new building and having a state-of-the-art kitchen, the opportunity for culinary classes is pretty much endless. So there'll be we are planning to offer classes on, little classes on, recipes and things like that, to also programs that you can make meals for under $20. And this will go as young as 3 and all the way up to seniors. So that is the availability for that. We have a lot of non-sport programs that we are also adding. STEAM, science, technology, the arts, math. We have a full course of that coming in. We have gardening classes for early childhood. We have sign language, Pee Wee Gym that would be parents and children. So that kind of gives you just a little touch of early childhood for the youth, which would be age 6 and up. Legos and robotics, foreign language, babysitting. There's a certification you can get for babysitting through the Red Cross, music lessons, parent and child jewelry making. We're partnering with some other park districts, so for classes that we might not get a full load for, we can still offer those without canceling. A lot of cooking opportunities for the kids that are a little bit older. We're expanding the events. We have at least 8 to 10 new events that we are adding. Athletics is really where we're going to hit things in a way that we haven't been able to before, because the gym at the Iowa Community Center is not really a gym. It's a place where kids could eat lunch when it was a school, and we've put a couple basketball hoops up in there. So we'll have after-school sport programs. We're expanding our basketball programs. We will have open volleyball as an option after school. We will be using the track for children's walking and running, youth pickleball, because oddly enough, that program that was designed for seniors is really catching on for everybody of all ages. Speed, agility, strength, mobility, dodgeball, safely, of course, with very soft balls. Soft, like we're doing the axe throwing, soft axes. First aid for children, lacrosse, fencing, basketball.
Just a coincidence it falls right behind the dodgeball, first aid anyways.
Yes. So, I mean, the fitness programs, we have a Fit for Mom stroller exercise that we're going to be offering, free weights, core conditioning, strength training, personal trainers. I mean, things that we haven't been able to do up until this point without having a facility to do them. Of course, adult pickleball is something that people have been asking about. The gym is set up so that we could have 3 courts of pickleball at once going on, and have this be separated with the screens coming down. Seniors have a beautiful room to use, a good size that can be split into 2 if we wanted to. Half of it would have access to the kitchen. And then there's the outdoor area right outside there that we have the game tables that are coming in with the OSLAD grant. Pergola, there's all kinds of things that we can do both indoors and outdoors with seniors. We probably will be focusing on the holidays, a quilting club. We're going to do movies with popcorn, things that the seniors have actually given us input on at the other senior programs that we offer now. A lot of cooking opportunities. We have the kitchen set up so that, you know, it can be used, you know, in a rental situation or for us to cook for different things. But it was also designed with having the center cooktop so that the instructor can be on one side and be talking to the people who are in the class as they are sitting around that area. So that's a quick list, but I mean, I have a list that's 4 pages long if you would like to.
Okay. Trustee Kumar.
Chess.
Game tables outside and indoors.
Indoors. I mean, I think there probably is, there, at least recently, there is a big spike in chess players among Willowbrook students.
Yeah, I think
And they started with like 5 and they play anywhere between 3 and so that's some kind of programming I think you can definitely throw in
Sorry,
somewhere.
I did skip over chess. It's
Yeah.
on my list.
Yeah, that's something that I think, I mean, it might be there. I mean, I didn't see the whole list on the
Right,
list
no, I
yet.
know what you mean.
So, that's a big thing now I see in Willowbrook, a lot of, there are kids who are not sports inclined, but more cerebrally inclined in certain things that they need, and we need to get them also in the community center, because maybe that getting them in for chess will also make them run on the track. Whatever that works, you know, so that's, you know, a couple of those things is also necessary to get them in the door. The STEM, I think, is a nice addition. I think it feeds into our schools and our thing. There are, as I said, some set of individual kids who, that's the way they think and work. Your dance teams, I assume dance is still happening,
Yes.
yeah. There's different types of dance happening, I'm assuming. So there is that dance room, the dance music, I assume is all part of
Yes,
this.
and actually, we're going to be offering some dance, instructional dance for adults.
Yeah.
We've, you know, that sort of ebbs and flows with people being interested, but we've gotten some feedback now, and so we will be offering that as well.
Yeah, so there's different types of exercise, dance. I do know we have a rather large ethnic community now, so Bollywood dance, health kind of goes together. All of that happens, and people like to do things like that for exercise. So I think we have a big enough community for that at this point, so we should consider those things.
Anyone else? Okay. Thanks, Gina. And thanks, really thanks to the staff and Parks and Rec and the Parks and Rec Commission. You guys did a great job in getting things set up. Okay, item 16A, new business, discussion and authorization for the village manager to enter into contracts or approve relevant change orders regarding the performance of roof terrace work for the Villa Park Recreation Center with subsequent ratification by the village board of said contracts or change orders at the October 28th, 2024 meeting. Manager Harling.
Staff is requesting that the Board of Trustees authorize village manager to enter into contracts or approve relevant change orders regarding the performance of roof terrace work and installation of flagpole at the Villa Park Recreation Center with the subsequent ratification by the board of said contracts or change orders at the October 28th, 2024 meeting. To complete the work of the terrace in a timely fashion will require a new contract with Breezy Hill Landscaping and change orders in excess of $25,000 with GC Roofing LLC and McKinney Steel and Sales. Timely acquisition of materials and initiation of the terrace construction that was authorized at the last meeting requires bringing this before the board at this meeting. So again, we're talking about 3 different actions, and we actually looked for we actually sought bids from both Breezy and GC to do the landscaped, some of the landscaping and flashing work and some of the other items that needed to take place. And Breezy gave the best bid. One of the reasons why it requires a new contract is that the underlying contract with Breezy is $127,000, and this contract would be for $106,000. I'm pretty close to I don't have it directly in front of me. because that is more than 50% of the underlying contract, you cannot do, by state law, you cannot do a change order, thank you. So it requires a new contract. Also, you can't do a change order if it's substantially different than the underlying work. Whereas the GC roofing, we could theoretically have done it, but it would have been $11,000 more and different than the underlying contract there, because their total contract's over $600,000. So we're bringing you the best option. The problem is that to get it all ready and prepared in time for the board meeting was not possible. We're still looking at some of the options, but we know essentially what we need. And then we can, and getting it in the packet in a timely fashion. So we're just asking to move forward, and then we will bring it for ratification at the next board meeting.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have to make a motion and vote on this. So we have a motion for the request by the staff. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, trustee Cordova, do we have a second? Trustee Kumar? Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, Clerk Kornecki?
Okay, trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Kozar,
Yes.
trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Patrick.
Yes.
President Casal.
Yes. Okay, we'll go down to item 18, Village Clerk's report.
No report, thank you.
Okay, Village Trustees report. We're starting on my left. Trustee Alfano.
Thank you. It was nice to see so many people out on Saturday. It was a busy Saturday here in Villa Park. There were a lot of folks out at the fire department. I had a chance to stop there with my family. It's always just so nice to attend those events. The hospitality and the warmth of our first responders in Villa Park is recognized by our youngest residents and the adults alike. So thank you very much to our fire department for hosting. It was really a great event and really beautiful weather. And congratulations to the Villa Park Fun Commission. They also had an event that day. It was the second annual Autumn Jubilee. That event was also very well attended. I wanted to send a shout out to Sarah Corkery and the young actors that she worked with. They helped tell spooky stories on the Haunted Trail. And I know that I saw a few of the trustees at the event as well, but if you didn't make it, I encourage you to take a look at some of the pictures that were posted. Some of the costumes that Mrs. Corkery helped put together were pretty amazing, and the makeup that they do is spectacular. And the Fun Commission did a great job with lots of different places where families could take pictures. It was really well attended, so thank you for that. And thank you to our Parks and Rec staff and the crew. And to to Gina Racanelli for our staff liaison on that commission to help pull off that event. It does really take a village to make that happen. This Wednesday at 5, I believe, is the ribbon cutting for the Tri-Trail bike paths at the park there. The trail.
Rotary Park.
At Rotary
Yeah,
Park,
no,
yeah,
I-
it's just
I mean-
across the street from me, so I just call it the park.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
The trail is already really well loved, and it's utilized, so you should know that. People really love it, and it is already a beloved amenity in our village, in our little corner of Villa Park. And then as we, going back to our earlier discussion about liquor licensing fees, I know that was kind of a difficult and contentious discussion that we had, and I do appreciate the conversation that we do have on the board. As we look at licensing fees, can we revisit the fee structures of the license needed for gaming in particular? Can we take a look at that at some point as a board?
Just for clarification, I mean, you're talking about the fee of a liquor license that allows for gaming versus a fee for a liquor license that doesn't allow for gaming?
Correct, since we're establishing this newer license. I
Okay.
think it might be a good
Great.
idea to take a look at that. I don't know what that process looks like, but I'm just asking if we could get some information on
Okay.
that. That would be really great. And then lastly, as I sat here tonight, I know that we had some difficult discussion, but I want to thank all of those who sit here tonight with me on the dais, because I know that it was contentious, or at least it felt contentious at times. And I know that we don't always agree, and I don't think that we should always agree, but we do stand united in our commitment towards making Villa Park an even better place to live. And we do listen to our residents, and we do represent our residents, and we do appreciate our staff, and we know that our staff works incredibly hard to make everything, all those moving pieces come together. And I appreciate the opinions that you share, and that helps me personally to see the complexity of all of the issues before us. But as we continue to make those tough decisions in future meetings, and I know that with budget season upon us, I'm going to ask that we keep that dialogue going, but to remember to have those difficult conversations in a respectful manner. And that's all I have.
Great, thank you. Trustee Kumar.
I do corroborate with a lot that was last said by trustee Alfano. But along that same lines, I do have some questions that I wanted to bring up in my trustee's report about a couple of things. One thing is the gaming license. Talking about gaming in particular, what kind of revenue do we get from a gaming establishment is something I want to ask the village. Is it a different percentage in terms of the taxes? Is it by the machine? Do we get anything as a village from gaming?
Yes, well, it's in the budget, but we get a percentage, I forgot what is the tax? 10%? I don't remember the tax offhand, but is it 5% for us? So whatever goes through the machines, we get 5%.
And that 5% is self-reported by the gaming establishment, or is it something that we have access to automatically?
It's on the state gaming board, correct?
Well, go ahead. You want
How does that work accounting-wise?
to?
Accounting-wise, the state takes a portion, we get about 5, I think.
Okay, and the state currently, if I recall, has increased, at least for sports betting and different types of betting, their percentage of tax up to 25%. And that was a kind of an offset, is what I read, for the fact that we no longer have a grocery tax. Am I correct?
We still have a grocery tax until the end of next year. And the villages, home rule or non-home rule, have the option of either reinstating the grocery tax, or they will have the option of raising sales tax without a referendum, either home rule or
No,
non-home rule.
I understand that with the grocery tax. I think the state, when they proposed, because they also are making a loss in revenue, was considering, I'm not sure, or did change the gaming taxes as a part of this offset. At least that's what I read somewhere. I want to verify that, if someone check into that.
So I mean, there was a reduction in the amount of local government distributive fund a few years ago, and then a few years after that, they instated the gaming tax, and also they opened up the option to allow cannabis operations in your village, and there'd be revenues from that. The idea being that it would offset what was lost in LGDF. Most cities have found that, most villages have found that that wasn't an offset. We have done fairly well with the gaming tax, and from the report we sent a few weeks ago, but somewhere in the neighborhood of $700,000 a year to the village at this point. Much more than we ever got from the cannabis, but so those, I mean, I don't know if that's if that may be what you're referring to. The most recent was the state eliminating the grocery tax, but giving us the opportunity to either reinstate or add a sales tax. And there are some who think that we could not add that sales tax because as a non-home rule city, we already have a 1 cent sales tax. There are different theories about that.
No, I'm just thinking of what our revenue structure is with regards to gaming. If it's favorable for us from that perspective or not. I'm contemplating all our decision-making based on revenue structures as well. I do know that for me, as a person, I'm gonna contemplate what we're losing, what we're gaining as a village from any license we give. It is not important to me who gets the license, there is no social perspective in deciding whether someone gets a license or not. It's more about, is that going to end up as something that's a great revenue source for us? And are we going to have negative externalities from that particular business or not? That's going to weigh into my decision of the type of license that I want to offer any different firm. So that's, something I'm also contemplating as to why we do what we do. It's just a contemplation. So I wanted to know what kind of revenue. So we've got about $700,000 that comes in a year from gaming fees. Now, are these mainly self-reported? I mean, do they go through the village, through the tax books, or how do they go?
Well, the machines are regulated and the state tracks how much money is going in and out of them, and so it's a pretty tight system in
Tight
terms
system.
of.
Okay,
Yeah.
just making sure.
I mean, yeah, it's not a self-reporting.
That's one revenue source that is really regulated by the state. And really, other than assigning those who have it, we have really no
Really?
control.
Okay, so it's a tight system. No, I just wanted to know. I am not familiar, I do not use said machines nor develop any revenue source from them, so I wanted to verify. Now, all our gaming establishments thus far, any negative externalities that are consistently reported in terms to the fire or police, the ones that we have?
What do you mean, negative externalities?
When I mean negative, are there any or a lot of problems? Because in the last meeting, when the people came out, they commented on Stella's they said something about Stella's, and I don't know why they were saying that. Is there any problem with this establishment?
No, I think the police chief can say, I don't think we've had any
Incidents?
at least incidents regarding gaming itself. Now, obviously, if there's an incident at a bar that has gaming, but typically that's outside of the gaming. You can.
Well, as you know,
talk to the
Mr.
chief.
Mayor, you receive a monthly report on any liquor issues, any liquor establishments. As far as gaming, I can't think of anything offhand in the 4 years that I've been here.
Okay. I want to verify that as well, because if residents come to us with concerns on this aspect, we have to have a good answer for them, one way or another. So when the individual came out here and commented, "We are not Stella's," and I didn't think there was any problem with Stella's, honestly.
Yeah, 'cause
so
Stella's-
that comment to me was concerning.
Yeah, I think the reason he made that comment was Stella's is strictly gaming. They're only there for gaming. What he was saying is, he's going to have wine and food, and gaming would be kind of like an accent to
It's
it.
not true. If you go to Stella's website, they clearly say they have basic food and basic
Yeah.
wine. So there's really no difference, is what I'm trying to get to. And that's what was kind of bothering me with that whole situation. So I just want to verify.
Okay, anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Trustee Patch.
No, I have more to say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's just with gaming revenue. But I do want to talk about Airbnbs, rental laws. We need to have a meeting on that, short-term rentals. We did get, the Weiss family out, and quite a few people who are quite upset with what's going on Villa Avenue. And as I said, we have rental issues going on, and I do foresee increases in these problems over time, just because I see it happening that, Airbnbs are such a big thing. So we need to think of methodologies of, one, monitoring what's going on, maybe licensing those things, whether we're going to open it up for 1 month or not, whether we have some kind of, at least someone to go in and check, whether they have, the proper amount of fire and safety equipment in the places they're renting. If we expect an apartment building to do something, we can't just say house owners don't have to follow those laws when they're renting to people as well. So this is something that's concerning to me. So I think, I don't know how far we can go, what are the provisions. I would like to have a committee of the whole meeting on it.
Yeah, like I said, Manager Harlan and I have discussed about that. He's had a couple things planned in, the past few months, so we'll definitely try to get something on in the next couple of months.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
No,
Okay.
that's it.
All right, Trustee Patrick.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to take a moment to recognize or acknowledge our fire department from the open house that happened last week. It was a great event, great weather, and their open house gets better and better each year. So I just really want to acknowledge what a great job that event was. It was a lot of fun, and it had a great turnout, so I really appreciate that. In staying with the acknowledgement as well, I would like to specifically acknowledge Carla Graff, as well as the Fund Commission and St. Genesius for Autumn Jubilee that was over the weekend or last week. And I can't say enough how awesome this event was and how much bigger and how well attended it was than I had originally anticipated. Everybody did an outstanding job, and I hope this is something that we could focus on even further in the future. If you had not been there, it was amazing. There were vendors, it was well attended, there were food trucks, face painting, so much representation there, and I just hope that moving forward we could continue with that. And I look forward to next year as well. Next, we have an election coming up in November in a couple of weeks, and tensions across the nation are very high. I just ask everyone that regardless of your political affiliations or beliefs, that we are all respectful of one another's beliefs and opinions. At the end of the day, we are all in this together. So that's my ask of you. Lastly, I would just like to, and I'm very proud of this, I would like to congratulate my wife, April, for completing her very first marathon over the weekend, the Chicago Marathon. I am very proud of her. It takes a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work, and a lot of commitment to doing something like this. So I'm very proud of her, and I just wanted to congratulate her. That is all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Cordova.
Yeah, just 2 points. Number one, I know that we had the proclamation for St. A's having a 100-year anniversary on October 17. Tomorrow, they're having a blood drive from 12 to 5. Always a great an event. They bring their own cookies and brownies. It's kind of nice. And then the second piece is just a point of clarification on revenue from tax of gambling. Since 2022, we have, and we're not, and keep in mind, we're not through 24, and I believe I went through, the 15th of September. It's about $1.7 million of tax revenue, just straight revenue, back to Villa Park from the gaming machines. That's it.
Okay. Trustee Kozar.
I'm going to ask our village attorney to send me an email in the upcoming week that cites the provision that we dealt with earlier today, that the provision of any law that allows the president to remove items from the agenda that have been successfully motioned by the board to be there. Secondly, I encourage the board to review the rules of order and procedure adopted by this board on or about July 8th of 2024 and the provisions thereof. I would also ask that rules of order and procedure be put on the next agenda for discussion and potential modification. And then lastly, in my review of the September 11th, 2023 video, YouTube video of this meeting, which relates to this liquor discussion or whatever, I saw that my request that planning and zoning come up with a definition of hardship had gone ignored. And I don't know how to be heard on that, but I want planning and zoning to bring the board a definition of what hardship is as it relates to a variance. And if that isn't heard right now, does it need to be heard by a motion? Tell me what I need to do, anybody.
Oh, we'll contact the Community Development Department. Planning and Zoning did not meet this month because they didn't have a quorum, so they'll meet on November 14th, and that information can be ascertained at that point.
This was from '23,
Yeah.
so it's not missing of one meeting. So I just, if that's all we need to do, and it's on the record here, that a request has been made of Planning and Zoning to give me a definition of what a hardship is, again, that's sufficient.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's got to go to P and Z. I'm sure Community Development can come up with that, because they're the ones that work on the ordinances. But one way or another, we'll get a definition.
Yeah, that's more of a, I mean, I would think that would actually, you'd want that from the village attorney, because hardship is for, and you're speaking of hardship in the term, if I recall correctly, it was hardship in the discussion of when you want to have a variation, there is a requirement for a hardship typically. I think
Not
that's-
typically, I mean, it is.
Yeah, you had,
Right.
yeah, that's part of the.
And my comment there
process.
was that it's not fair for everybody in the village, and it's very subjective. So what we need is a definition. At that time, the village attorney told me that we could not remove the requirement of hardship, so I asked that it be defined, so we knew what it was.
Yeah. Okay, anything else?
That is it.
Okay, I too would like to commend the fire department. They did a great job. It was a perfect day. The guy that rappelled down the tower did a great job with the 180-pound dummy. But the great turnout, so it was really nice to see. And like Trustee Alfano said, the Autumn Jubilee was really well attended. We walked up and down there for a little while, and a lot of good vendors, and looked like the food was pretty good there, too. That Saturday, too, on the 12th, there was also a ribbon cutting at the Clothes Mentor, the shopping center at 154 West Roosevelt Road. They had closed when there was a fire at the curling facility, and it affected their building. So
Fire was at the lamp store.
Oh, I'm sorry, the lamp store. I'm sorry, lamp store, wrong place.
Don't want to get the, yeah, they're.
Yeah, sorry about that.
They were one of
Sorry
the ones
about
who
that.
suffered. They didn't,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry.
At the lamp store, but they reopened down the ways a little bit, and it was at 9 o'clock, and we got there about 5 to 9, and there was about 40 people in line waiting to get in, so hopefully they do real well. Clothes Mentor, it's a kind of like a resale shop there, but they had some real nice stuff. Electronic recycling is this Saturday, October 19th, 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock on Home Avenue for residents only. So you have to bring your driver's license or proof of residence in Villa Park. And I believe that's it. Mayor Harley.
Great, just a couple things, just to reiterate, trustee Alfano has already mentioned this, but it doesn't, bears repeating. Wednesday at 5 at the Rotary Park is the Tri-Trail Connector ribbon cutting. It's already been mentioned by Brian Roach, but I asked him to get us some examples of the pool liner. So I'm going to hand these out so that you can, this is a example of what is going to be going into the swimming pool. They will be starting that this week to give us another 10 years of life on the pool, we hope. So now you know that's what it looks like. So that's what it feels like. So, next week, this time at 6 p.m., we'll have the budget workshop, as we've done the last couple of years. And then the last piece of information I wanted to share with you is that we anticipate in the next couple, the RFBs, how soon is that? They're on order for Monterey. We're going to, I'll let trustee. I just elevated. Director Guerra explained we're putting in rapid repeating flashing beacons.
Rapid flashing beacons, yes,
Yeah.
the RFBs. We have 2 sets in for Monterey and the Parade Path. We're working on getting foundation set. We're working, trying to get some pricing from contractors on that to install those. And then we have a set for Ardmore in the Great Western and Harvard in the Great Western that are on order and expected to be delivered probably in the next month, I would say.
That's something you guys approved in last year's budget. And that is everything.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, go on to item 22A, executive session pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2 C11 regarding litigation when action against, affecting, or on behalf of the village has been filed and is pending before a court, or when the village finds that an action is probable or imminent. Do we have a motion to enter executive session, and then we will return into a regular board meeting and then go out of that meeting from executive session? Do we have a motion? Trustee Kumar. Second. Trustee
Second.
Alfano.
I'll second.
Clerk Kornecki.
Okay, trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
President Casella?
Yes. So we will enter executive session, and we will adjourn our regular meeting out of there. So thanks for everyone for being patient with us up here, and we will see you in 2 weeks.